thought I heard you, Blue Pen.
I'm here, buddy. Can you
You
hear
are
me?
here. Huh?
Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me? Okay. I had to wear the. I have to
Yeah.
wear these head. I have to wear these headphones today because my microphone. Apparently, this laptop doesn't have a built-in microphone. It's the
I hear
stupidest
you.
thing I
I
ever
hear
heard.
you. I hear your dulcet tones beautifully.
Did you say dull shit tones? What did you say?
I said dulcet. Did you
How are
see
you
these
this morning?
pictures? Did you see these pictures that Spanky sent out?
I did. Well, I saw a couple of them.
The
You
Gars.
sent, yeah, young man standing there with a bow in his hand.
I was like, where in the heck did you dig that well? And then if you'd notice that picture, Chuck and I, we got one hanging from our crotch. We got a
I don't know if I noticed that or not.
we got a garfish hanging from our crotches. Each of us do. And Spank sent it out and said wade fishing was dangerous in those days in Arkansas.
That's what he meant by that. I was just looking on my phone. I didn't see him. I'll have to blow that up and see better. Be in a better look. I thought that was Chuck in that picture, but I wasn't sure.
That was Charles G. Curtis III,
Charles.
Ohio River pirate.
I saw the Ohio River part. You don't need no stinking spring.
You don't need no what?
You posted here about you don't need no stinking spring.
Oh yeah. Well, that's
42, huh?
yeah. Well, and it's been much colder than that since then. It was. I think yesterday morning it was 26, and this morning it was back in the 40s, and like, oh, we're back to summer.
Well, I noticed that. Dan, I like what Dan said. He said he thinks he might just be lowering the temperature of the ground to prevent things from growing by irrigating. Looked to me like you were getting pretty much rooted off the couch last night, buddy.
Yeah, there was no room for me. Somebody said that. There's no room for you. The suit Nazi came out.
Shit, now I see
said she's listening in the car, and Chuck thought you said he had one hanging from our crotch. And I said he did.
I see that now. Those are big ones too.
And one of the guys that we went to school with that I haven't thought about for God, however many 30 years or 40 years now, said, I remember that guy. He was deadly with that bow.
Yeah, I saw that too. Is that what in that picture where you're kneeling and you got that bow in your hand? What?
That was a Fred Bear himself. Beautiful old Kodiak. 50. No, it was 64 inches, and golly, that bow shot nice.
Well, that's a long. I mean, that's a fairly long bow for that. He made a lot of Kodiak short, but
yeah, I had one of those little short Kodiak Magnums, and it was the one that exploded on me at the Hollow Bend.
Hang on just a minute. My spousal unit's yelling at me. What? Yeah, right now Brenda's she's tending to her earth. She said she's gardening.
She's gardening. She's tending to her earth.
tending to. Yeah, that's what she said.
Yeah.
It's
My wife's been gardening like crazy, and we've had to be shifting plants in and out of the house and in and out of the greenhouse, and because of the cold temperatures at night. And
yeah.
she bought like a gazillion. She's done several runs to various places with plants, Baumgars.
I see. Go ahead.
And we had to go get all of our like Africa shots yesterday in
I bet that was fun.
Evanston, and I can barely lift my shoulders today. Oh,
Are they really?
it hurts. Some of them hurt. Some of them hurt bad. And anyway, we went to Walmart before we went to the public health and got our vaccines, and we bought a whole bunch of plants there too. So she's been like gardening like crazy here because we're trying to make it to be summer. She's trying real hard to make it be summer, and
she's trying to bend it to her will.
And it's just like, well, here, have a little snow today, have a little whatever, you know. We had snow probably 4 days this week. It didn't stick or anything; it just snowed, you know.
Yeah, just enough to be aggravating.
But as Wyoming people would say, we need the moisture. So
that's what I was thinking. We probably did. I mean, it hadn't snowed or rained in what, a week or two?
Yeah, and it's supposed to rain today, but right now it sure don't look like it. But well, it's got a little weird color to the sky, but maybe it's going to rain this afternoon.
But I've had we're in that. Oh, I got to say hi here. Hang on a minute, Tatina. I didn't realize that she was the one that said that about what she said about Chuck.
Yeah,
well, Chuck, you never know what you're going to hear here, and you should know that by now.
You never, and they're listening in the car, so they can't they can't see pictures, or I'd show the photo again. But
Teen, do you have any herbs actually planted out there yet? She's just tending her earth. EARTH is what I was trying to say. Right now she's just doing flowers and whatnot. But I'm sure there's going to be some herbs planted here in one of these little pots.
We bought.
She's getting ready to plant this.
So we tried to find that yesterday at Walmart. My wife had a great big one that grew out in the front yard, and I always called it something more vulgar. A disease.
I had a friend of that the other night. I said, what'd you say?
And she would say, you know, can you water my clematis? And I'm like, and then I would forget the name of it. And I'm like, I got the whatever, like, I got it watered.
Did she see the humor in that?
She was like, "You're an idiot. Her brother-in-law says the same thing." He's like, "Yeah, that deal."
That whistling, you heard that? Three Blind Mice was my daughter sending me pictures of. She said a tattooed leg. Or she said her Disney leg is finished. She must have just got a new tat. And I was trying to see what all she actually has on it. I see, do see a lot of Disney-esque critters. There's a, oh, you remember the movie? Did you ever see the movie? I think it's the Adventures. No, it's the Rescuers.
Down under.
No, it's not the Down Under one. It's the one where they're in Louisiana,
Oh yeah.
and there's a mosquito or something that hangs around with them.
Yeah.
She's got one of those on there. That's sort of a
What did they call? Oh, that hit Evinrude was his name.
Evinrude. Yeah, Evinrude.
He was like a little boat motor.
Yeah. That's wonder how many people knew what an Evinrude was then.
Tina's at the plant store right now. We're off to the plant store today.
Yeah, Tina, what are you guys looking to buy? If you can either speak that language or what in the hell is that on her? It looks like a half-eaten pig's foot. Well, I was trying to see. I was going to name a few other things. Oh, here we go.
That's not. There's no way she had a half-eaten pig's foot tattooed on her leg.
No, it's not a tattoo. It was laying there beside her on the table.
Oh.
I don't know what that was, but here's a. I guess it's the beaver, or a gopher. Maybe it's gopher from
Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh. She's got one of them on there.
Do you know that was Howard Morris who played Ernest T. Bass? I
did not know that until, and I'd forgotten it till you just mentioned it. I heard that. I realized that. I don't know who told me that. If I read that somewhere, I thought, no way, that's not him, is it? And yeah, I didn't know he did that kind of stuff.
I think he did too. I think he did two voices in that.
Oh, he probably did
in that movie. Anyway, he was an interesting and talented guy, and I think he was a nut.
He's a nut. Well, that's a true fact because Barney said that many times.
Tina's buying petunias and Johnny jump ups and pansies.
Marigolds for the garden. Oh, for the graves, excuse me. Oh, you're doing decoration day this weekend, aren't you? I can't remember if we used to do what they used down here. Used to call it decoration day.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if that was on Memorial Day weekend. I've always thought it was a different weekend down here. I could be wrong about that. We're prone to make up our own stuff. Of course, we always did something on Mother's.
We used to go with Grandma when I was a little boy. We'd go with Grandma on Memorial Day. We'd go to a million guys' graves, and put flags and flowers, and she always had a carload of stuff that we took and decorated,
Yeah. Well, we used to go do
a bunch of folks.
Yeah, we used to do a bunch of when I was little. I remember us always going on. Seems like we always went on Mother's Day too, to put something on my grandmother's grave.
Yeah.
And she died when I was just before I got married, so I was about 20, 21. And my other grandmother though lived quite a bit longer. And I was long gone by then, so I don't know if they did that, every Mother's Day then or not. My hair, I gotta get a haircut, buddy. My hair's tickling my ears. That's usually when I know it's time. Actually, it's past time. The barber's been off ever since we moved.
Well, I don't ever let my hair get longer than about an eighth of an inch long anyway.
I
And
said my barber had been off ever since we moved. Yeah,
I,
but I don't trust myself to cut it myself. I don't have that kind of practice yet. I could
well,
do it. I could.
if you just set it to 0 and just shave and just run it, you can be fairly accurate. Although I leave the top a little longer, but yeah, it'll be time before I leave here I think I'm down to 12 days in a wake up. Before I leave, I'll have to clean up a little bit.
Yeah. Actually, I just counted those days today. Well,
Because
you're leaving the day before.
it's supposed to be 80. I didn't know that. I went on the Weather Channel and I Googled or I put in Limpopo, Africa
Yeah.
on the Weather Channel, and by God, it gave me the forecast. So the 10-day forecast, and it's going to be 80s in the daytime and 40s of the night, upper
Oh
40s.
my. Well, that'll be a good shift.
Yeah,
Actually, 80s is. It could be worse.
it's
So,
going to be hot. We're going to be warm. I mean, we're going to
well,
be.
you will, yeah. I wonder if that's a humid or dry heat out down there. I don't know. Probably dry.
It's all, most of the country around there is all thorn scrub and like acacia tree looking stuff, and so it's probably pretty dry country, I think.
I think you're probably right. Diana G, welcome in this morning. And Kay Atwood, welcome.
Kay's going to the Scottish games.
Oh man, are you now? I wonder if it's
Well, Kay, toss a caber for me.
yeah, me exactly.
Pick up a telephone pole and give it a good spin.
I like to go to Scottish games. I don't know if there's any around here right now. Usually the big one out here is or used to be Grandfather Mountain. That
Yeah,
used to be a huge one up there. That's 4th of July weekend, I think.
they have a giant one down here just south of us in Colorado that I keep getting invites to, but I haven't been to yet. It's down there where there's way too many human beings, and I just don't.
So you refuse to go.
Nah,
Careful.
it's been just kind of like, I don't know, inconvenient at the time. I was, doing family crawfish boils or something like that. It's in the middle of the summer. It's probably around the 4th of July.
Is that down in Utah?
No, it's in Colorado.
Oh, you might have said that.
It's it's down there in the mountains, Estes Park or somewhere like that. And last year there was a Marine Corps band that played, with all their glorious precision, and but they were all in kilts, and it was kind of cool, I guess. My buddy took videos of it for me, but I didn't go down.
Good morning, Maple Bacon. Kay's favorite band out. I'm gonna say this wrong, Kay, so help me out here if you can. Is it Albanock? Will be playing. I don't know if you've heard them or not, Mark. I've looked them up. They're Scottish and they play a lot of drums. They do a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I like those guys, and I like oh God, what's the name of the band? Their lead drummer is an old guy that looks like Gandalf the Grey, and his middle name is Stormcrow, which is what Gandalf's name. They called him Gandalf Stormcrow.
Did they? I don't remember that. You've read a lot more of the books than I have, though. I haven't read all the.
I don't remember the not Clanadonia. Daggone it. I can't remember nothing no more.
Yeah, it'll pop. If you just be patient, it'll pop back around.
They didn't know it, but they played at my wedding.
That's
Because
some good music.
I got married in a kilt, and all of the Sammy was in a kilt, and the preacher was in a kilt, and Creekmore was in a kilt, and
You were in a great kilt too, weren't you?
I was in a great kilt. Yeah, Terry was Creekmore was in a fancy, dress kilt from more modern times, and I was wearing a tam and a great kilt.
I was wearing a tam around. I don't know. It's probably been 3 or 4 weeks ago now. Brenda says, "Why are you wearing that?" And I said, "Well, because I just found it, and I want to."
Yeah,
Which is why I do a lot of things because I want to.
yeah.
I guess she thought I looked silly, but that's nothing new about that either. So what the heck? We just refilled bird feeder.
Uh-oh.
Ignore this, please. I'm going to hang up. But they'll leave a message. That was the pharmacy, babe. Walgreens. I don't know what they would be wanting with me this morning, but probably trying to tell me they were trying to get some. We're still getting medications figured out where they getting them up here and getting them
sent to the right place.
Yeah, because we're so far away now from our old pharmacy, which is conveniently right around the corner from where we live. I guess if I miss anything about being here versus Knoxville, it's a little bit of the convenience we'd gotten used to. But that's okay. It's worth it. Whoa. Oh, hi, buddy.
What was that?
I just had a chickadee land right in front of my face right there.
I just heard something squeaking.
It was him or her, whichever.
So, Kay, that band I was talking about is Clanadonia that I like so much. And they've got drums and bagpipes in there.
Can't go wrong. Whoops, about knocked my coffee off. When the kids were growing up, or at least when Jennifer was little, I'd have coffee sitting around the house or something, and Brenda was always telling her to, Jennifer, be careful, don't knock Daddy's coffee off. So when she got to where she could talk better, she always referred to that as my coffee off. and I don't know if Kelly may have too, because of course Jennifer would have taught her, but probably. But so I call it that a lot even today. And Brenda says, "Do you still say that?" And I said, "Well, yeah." It just kind of comes out. I said, I'm always telling Teddy not to knock my coffee off. So I said, I still use it. Don't knock my coffee off. Jennifer she grins when I say that in front of her, but which makes me think I was going to say something. Oh, I'll give you an update on why I'm rocking on the porch this morning and not up in the library. I was going to try to broadcast from up there today via my hotspot, and I didn't get it all fixed up in time to make sure it was going to work properly. So I just moved back out. And I got up this morning about 6, and Brenda was up. She was feeding the cats and doing something, and she said something to me said, "You need to get out on the porch." She said, "It feels really nice out there," which is another topic in a minute. And I don't know if so I laid back down. I said, "Well, I'll be up in a few minutes, and I'll get up, come outside, and get coffee ready." Hey, there went a. Hang on a minute. That squirrel. I believe that looked like a. What the heck is that? That kind of looked like a shag poke, or whatever. Uh,
Like
little
a green
green
heron?
heron. Green heron. Well, kind of.
Little green heron?
Had his neck pulled in, and of course, and I swear that's what that looked like.
Well, it probably was. There's ponds around you.
Yeah, there's plenty of water around here. I just hadn't seen one fly by the house before, but that's got to be what it was.
A shy
Cool.
poke.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
So we went down on a task force deal to Louisiana to work with our brothers and sisters in Louisiana one time. A few of us got to go down there and hang out with the Cajuns, Kunas as they would call themselves, and they had a different word for every bird that you saw.
I'm sure they did.
I mean, they had they had a French kind of a word or a Nova Scotia kind of word or wherever.
Creole.
Acadia or whatever, Yeah. Creoles are Cajuns that live in town and Cajuns are Cajuns that live out in the country. And all these boys and girls were from the backwoods.
Backwaters.
And they had the darndest names for birds. They had, they called like grebes. They called those growbacks. Growback. And then mallards were French ducks. And they had all these different names for critters. And I mean, they used them all the time. It was like, so when you do your reports on like what the French duck population looks like in Louisiana, I mean, do you use French duck or do you use mallard?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we convert it. But yeah,
that's why, ladies and gentlemen, the scientific community tends to stick with scientific names in documents so everybody knows what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, like there's only one of them. There might be 47 common names, and there's only one actual scientific name,
which is based in Latin,
which makes you like have to learn that kind of stuff.
Yeah, which nobody speaks anymore. So, but anyway,
and you say it one way, and they're like, "Oh, that's not how you say that," and it's like, it's a dead language. How do you know?
How do you know? How do you know? Yep. So anyway, back to the. I was going to go out there and broadcast, but the big, I guess, the semi big news is I finally got all my inspections done. They've been out here looking at where not to dig and all that. And guy came out here. What day was that? Thursday. He came. I got an email notice sometime Wednesday. It said that it was approved and that they had set up for the work to begin to install my cable out there underground.
Right.
On Wednesday, but I knew when I got the email that wasn't gonna happen because it's too late in the day already. But so the guy was out here first thing Thursday morning. And I woke up because I heard his machine out here running. And I thought, what the hell is that? Sounded like a rototiller going. I thought, I know Brenda's not up, gardening. Plus our rototiller in here. So I got up and I hung myself out the window in the bedroom. And I looked out here. I seen this old guy that had a big old grin on his face and pardon the expression, but less teeth probably than your average hockey player. And so I knew right off he was our people. And he said, I'm out here putting your line in. And so I came to the porch and he walked up here and talked to me. He said, yeah, I knocked on your door. He said, you must not have been out yet. I said, no. I probably wasn't. I didn't hear you. But he had a machine.
There went that truck again.
Yep. I kept talking about having to trench it or ditch it over to the house, run it. So I thought they were going to bury a conduit about yay far into the ground, dig a ditch, and then have to cover it back up.
I bet it's 6 feet deep.
No, actually, it's not. It's about 4 inches deep.
Oh, really?
And he has a machine that just drives along, and I guess it tamps it down into the ground. I don't know how it works. I'd like to see it. Must have a blade or something that knocks a hole, because you wouldn't want to push that cable through dirt. And then another one that comes along and I guess pushes the wire into the trench. And then another part of it just kind of covers it up. So now that it's rained, I don't even know if you could find it. I mean, it just hardly disturbed anything.
Really?
To which made me think, and we had to go through all this don't dig shit so you could do that.
So you could dig this deep.
Well, I wouldn't even call it a dig. I mean, he was just poking something in the ground. And I said, well, that's why I said 4 inches. I said, how deep's that going? How deep's that going? He said, oh, about 4 inches. He said, that's all we need. I thought, damn. I waited 2 more weeks.
House?
Huh?
Does that hook up to the house, or is it coming from some other source?
Well, it's going to come off that pole. Hey, John, welcome in, buddy.
Morning, John.
I hope you're going to get to go fit.
Good morning, every morning, Kay. I haven't said good morning to anybody, but good morning to all of you.
Well, it's going to come off that pole. There's a light pole right here, an electrical pole. Down here we call it a light pole. It's going to come off that. And what I assumed, which is another reason you don't assume, you know what happens when you assume, that they were going to run this new cable from that pole to the house, and I assume they just run it like along the eave of the house, staple it on the wall, so to speak, and drop it down that corner, and then they were going to bury it over to the schoolhouse or the library.
But it's not hooked to your system in the house.
Well, not yet. It probably will be before it's over. Huh?
Will it be? You got internet at the house, right?
I have internet at the house right now, and I may or may not keep this one. I may just put everything on that cable once I get it hooked up.
Got it.
It's been a strange and interesting process of what we can and can't do, and I just thought they'd run it from the house over to the building, drill a hole in the wall, drop it down, hook it up to a router or a modem or whatever they have to hook it to, and I'd hook up my router, and and I'd be off you go. Bob's your uncle, and we're off to the races. But that's not how it works. They had to know.
So the wires in the ground, the cables in the ground, but nothing else is done.
They'll probably be out here after Memorial Day, and I hope that next week, middle of the week, they'll be out here to hook everything else up. So I really hope by next weekend I'm up and going and live in the library for sure. I didn't do it this morning because I was running a little bit behind, and I was afraid I'd get out there and get everything set up, and then this wouldn't work. I couldn't get, because I was going to have to run it off the hotspot on my phone, which is what I did. That's what I've been doing on the road and stuff, and it works great. But I just had this feeling that my computer, this laptop, which I haven't been using, this is one I couldn't get any sound on a couple of weeks ago.
Well, and I just want to let you know that I like seeing you sitting in a rocking chair out there, watching the birds come by and listening to that pickup truck right there again.
Actually, that was 2 Harleys sounding like that pickup.
Two Harleys.
That was 2 Harleys that sounded like one pickup truck with no muffler. They were synced just about perfectly.
So was that other one that went by earlier that pickup?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same one. He was pulling the trailer. I always see him pulling the trailer when he comes by here. Well, you know how it is. This is kind of like watching.
Well, he goes around the corner and then he's got to dump romp on it and get back to speed.
Exactly. Get back. Well, it comes out of this corner and then goes uphill a little bit. See, so you got to get on it.
So he's got to like get on after it.
And he's probably getting after it, coming in, getting after it. Everybody, that means stepping on it, going faster. If you guys don't know what that means, we're gonna have to write. You know, we're gonna need to write a dictionary, don't you? We're gonna have our own dictionary.
So,
it's not gonna be like that newfangled thing, you know, for slang words. It's gonna be real English.
My mother got that. She got a little pamphlet book. It's not a pamphlet. It's an actual little book. When they moved to Tennessee from Ohio, when they moved down there to Millington to the Naval Air Station.
Oh, to the Naval Air Base, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was when I wasn't even around yet.
Yeah.
And somebody gave her a little book of how to speak Southern. And I still I have that book.
I've read that book.
And
or flip through it anyway.
You know, and it gives you all the things that we may or may not say.
Right. And what they mean or may not mean.
And I mean, that's where she figured out I'm going to carry you to the Piggly Wiggly, what that meant. What?
Well, yeah, that's a funny turn of phrase because I don't remember saying that when I was growing up.
Well, we didn't say it in East Tennessee, but
Middle Tennessee and beyond.
West
yeah.
Tennessee.
From Middle Tennessee out to West Tennessee, they say that a lot. I worked with a guy. He was always talking about carrying somebody somewhere. And one of the guys I worked with one time, he said, "Why the hell you have to carry somebody? I mean, can't they walk or are they, you know, disabled?" And he said, "No, pick them up in your car and, you know, carry them down to the store." that was a new one on me too.
I was like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, well, you can get in the car with us and we'll take you to the Piggly Wiggly and you can get shop. Because she didn't drive in those days.
Right. You remember when your mother started driving?
I was, it was late. I was probably in, I don't know, 3rd or 4th grade before she.
My mom didn't start driving until I was even older than that. I can't remember exactly. I remember when she took her last. I remember when she got the little Tennessee book on how to drive, which is compared to a lot of states, ain't a whole lot anyway. And I remember her she was so worried about going down and taking that test, and she missed. I think she
was too, as you would expect.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And she got down there, and I think she missed. This would have been on paper too, no little electronic box to click boxes on. I don't even know how they do it now, but anyway, I think she ended up missing one question on her written, which is again pretty simple. Got any common sense at all? But she missed one. It said, "What distance?" Well, it's not exactly paraphrasing here, but what distance to your next turn should you turn on your turn signal? In other words, how far when should you turn on your turn signal when you're approaching a turn? And she had put either 100 feet or 100 yards. I don't remember. And the answer was 50. That's what they said. At least 50 feet before you turn. Surely it wasn't 50 yards. That's a long way. Well, I don't know. That'd be about right, though, wouldn't it? So anyway, she put 100, and when they graded it, they used to grade it right there in front of me. And they said, "Oh, she missed one." And she said, "Well, which one did I miss?" And they said, "Well, you missed this one about when you turn your turn signal on." She said, "Well, I put 100 yards. I'm just going to assume that's what it was." And they said, "Well, that's not correct." She said, "Well, what is it?" And they said, well, it's 50. She said, well, why would it be? Then why wouldn't 100 be just as right as a 50? And she said, the whole point is to turn it on before you got to turn.
Twice as good.
And she came home fussing about that. She told my dad. She said, they got that. They marked that wrong. She said, they said it was 50. I just thought I was being safer by turning it on a little bit early. And they didn't agree with her, but she did get her driver's license. But I don't know.
I would just like to see people use their dang turn signal at all.
Well, yeah. But I don't know if it's like this everywhere. It probably is, but down here, a turn signal is an option when you buy a car. You can get it, or you don't have to. Apparently.
Well, I was told when I lived down there in Arizona that the use of your turn signal was a weakness.
Oh, was it? I'm trying to figure out if I need to put a shade up. Go ahead, keep talking. It was a weakness, huh?
It was a weakness, yeah. I mean, if you were merging onto the interstate, for instance, and you turned your turn signal on, kind of using manners and like, hey, folks, like, let me in. Would you please let me in? They just like stacked up in front of you so you couldn't get on the highway.
Yeah.
It was a totally offensive driving experience down there.
You might as well be shooting them a bird, in other words.
And you get to the point where you're just like acting like them, like, okay, if you want violent driving, I'll violent drive with you. I'm coming in. I can take my old beat up pickup truck and hit your fancy little car if you want me to.
Or you can back off.
I'm coming in. Yeah, Mom. So when Mom got her driver's license, Dad was driving a Sanford & Son truck. He had an old orange. It looked just like Sanford & Son's truck. It was the same make and model. It was a cool old pickup truck. But we had owned a blue Dodge Charger.
Mm.
And Mom drove that. So she was driving a muscle car.
What? Oh, Brenda got hit by two birds. Anyway, she drives a muscle car. I can't see that happening. Your mom would have had to stack up, what, 3 or 4 pillows to even see cross?
She put like 3 like Sears and Roebuck Christmas catalogs under her backside just to be able to see up over the steering wheel.
Mark's mom might be the only mom I knew that was short, as short or maybe even shorter than my mom. My mom was, I don't know if she was 5'2" or if she was 5 flat.
Yeah, Mom never made it to 5. She was 4'10" and a half.
Well, there you go.
And she always claimed the half, which she can't do anymore. She's
lost the half. I was going to say she could round up. If you claim that half, you could round up.
I took Caitlin back there last summer, and Caitlin goes, "You're even smaller than I remember," because she hadn't been there for years. I mean, she might weigh 87 pounds soaking wet now. I don't know.
Well, enjoy her while you can.
Yeah, I do.
Your mom and
they're still both pretty sharp, and
yeah, you're lucky there too.
I've been gathering everything I can gather.
Yeah, ask now, and if you get back there, which I know you don't get back very, very often, and I understand that too, but if you get back there and there's anybody still alive, go see them, because if you got any questions, I've run out of people to ask because nobody's left from that generation in my family anymore. on mom's side anyway.
Yeah, we got a whole bunch of kin down in eastern Kentucky I would like to go see. And every time I get back there, I'm just like, I get with mom and dad, and I'm just like, well, I'm just gonna stay up here and hang with them. And but
Well, I'm only showing two people.
huh?
I'm only showing two people in the chat. Everybody's either left or, I mean, it'd be hard for me to think we bored them to death. That's not usually happen.
John's here and Kay's here, and well, I don't have the stats, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, I don't know either. I don't know if I'm seeing right. Anyways, well, Maple Bacon's still here because he just commented on your mom's height.
And Kay and Diana and John, I don't know how you tell if they're here or not, but
Well, I got a little number up here. It shows that I hadn't heard. I had till Mike and Diana just spoke. I hadn't seen anybody talking a couple of minutes. So if you're out there, wave and say howdy. It might just be my computer.
Diana said she's here.
Mike, what would I'm trying to think if I can do this math in my head. I used to. What would that be in metric? Or do you guys measure in metric, or do you still use good old fashioned English digits and that kind of stuff? I was trying to think what 549 or 410.5 would be in the metric centimeters, and it probably sounds like a much bigger number, so you could use that.
Well, they measure their gas in liters.
Yeah, well, that's true. They do. Where's the donuts? Well, Mike, sad story about the donuts. After you talked about the donut thief at your house last night, I think the donut thief must have struck here because there wasn't any donuts this morning. I'm going to stick with that. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it today. I did have what did I have? Oh, I did have some banana pudding last night, though, a little bit from the barbecue place. We decided that's the other thing that's happening here. Our air conditioner.
You got banana pudding from the barbecue place.
Yeah, they had a little bit. We went. And, I was going to say our air conditioning's out. That's the other reason why we were outside in the cool air. It felt good.
Out.
Yeah, it went out. I don't know. Brenda got up. I don't think I've decided it's had absolutely nothing to do with it. But she got up. We got a new smart thermostat, which is probably way over our heads, Brenda got up and tweaked the thermostat just a little bit because we're still trying to regulate our temperature with this house's temperature. And the air conditioner, while it was on, I think 70, it was feeling more like 67 or even less sometimes in the back part of the house. So she was trying to bump it up just a little bit, not get too cool. And she did that. And then sometime after that, we noticed that it was getting hot in the house and the air conditioner was no longer running. So we had to start troubleshooting. And she said, well, I just adjusted the temperature. And I said, what did you do? Because I thought we'd turned it off by messing with the thermostat. It's way more complicated than it ought to be. Y'all just push it up to a temperature or push it down to a temperature, and it come on and go off. That's not how this works. There's too many ups and downs and
sliding deal that you went like this.
Exactly.
And it was dumb. It wasn't smart at all, and it worked every time.
It worked. Hey, right.
Every
and then when
time. So who's the dummy now?
Yeah. Well, if you get real fancy, I can remember people had to kind of turn, you could turn it to set it. But those worked. Those were simple and they worked.
Every time.
This damn thing, it's like I said, it's the manual for it's probably about that thick on how to operate it.
We got one too. And
do you?
Crazy. Ours has been pretty, I'm not complaining about it, except it drives me crazy.
Well, so in the end,
I can't see the numbers on it
no
anymore like I should be able to. and so it aggravates me that I have a hard time. It's so faint. I have
Yeah.
a hard time seeing, like, well, what am I doing? Am I turning the heat on? Am I turning that? We don't have AC. We don't need it, but
Hmm.
we have a little wall or a little window unit we use if it gets hot in summer. But
Yeah, you could probably just about get by with a swamp cooler.
yeah, we
What?
certainly could. Heck, I
Yeah.
had one of those when I lived in New Mexico,
Oh, I know. I stayed with you down there once, and
living in
we were,
a tin trailer house.
well, that too. But I stayed with you when you were in a little apartment or something in Cruces,
Oh yeah,
and might have been near campus. But it had a swamp cooler. All of them did. That's all they
that's
had.
that's where.
What,
That
baby? You need
was
something?
the place I lived in that, like, there was a dumpster so they broke into my truck and stole all my stuff. It was all low income folks living there pretty
Mm.
much. And it wasn't too far from campus, and I just thought it'd be like full of college students, but it wasn't. It was mostly a bunch of damn criminals. And there was a dumpster just like 10 yards from my front door that one day somebody like flipped the lid out and there was a head laying in there, a guy's
Oh,
head.
Jesus! Oh no! Did you hear that?
And I left.
I don't blame
I
you.
was like, that's it. I'll go sleep in a tent in the desert. I'll go do whatever, but I ain't living in this hellhole anymore.
Mark said when he was living in an apartment there in Cruces, I stayed with him in that apartment one time, a couple of weeks. Anyway, somebody went out one day and opened the dumpster, flipped the lid up on the dumpster, and there was a head in it.
That was the last time I've lived
He
in
said that was the last thing he moved out after that.
I've never lived in a town since then.
Well, I guess I can't much blame you for that.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
Juan Julio. He got in trouble with the rival gang that lived in that same apartment complex, and they killed him and chopped his head off. And
So that's what really happened.
that's probably how they killed him.
Oh yeah.
Oh hell, you're darn tootin' that's how it happened. And the cops came in and cleared the whole. They did the clean sweep thing, and then they stopped and visited me, and I'm like, I'm just a wildlife student living here at this house or at this apartment, and I had a bedroom, and they're like, well, can we come inside? And I'm like, sure, come on in. And they came in, and I had that back bedroom. I had all the bitey snakes living with me at the house. And they're like, what the heck?
What the hell have we stumbled upon here?
I probably had 25 rattlesnakes in the house.
Oh Jesus!
And terrariums. Because Doug's place was little, really little. And
and it was packed with snakes.
And he had a wife, and he had lots of snakes, but he didn't have the bitey. The ones
Right.
the ones he was doing his masters on lived with me.
Oh, that's how that works.
Because
his wife wasn't gonna have them at their house.
I was single and I didn't care if they lived at my house. I fed them.
Mike, hang on to that thought about the barbecue, okay? Mike said that people are gonna have to crack down on these donut burgers, and I absolutely agree. We may have to see if we can't get that in the next multinational crime bill, Mike. Me and you could work on that. Canadian connection and Tennessee connection.
Multinational crime bill.
And then he said, hang on there. There's a barbecue place out there. Please explain myself. Well, we don't live so far from, well, first off, let me say this. Barbecues have nothing to do with civilization. First off, good barbecue has been around since, Christ was a corporal or
since men
were still cooking.
Women were eating mammoth meat.
Yeah, and and barbecuing came from way back. So being out here in the country, you got barbecue shops somewhere usually, especially most of the South. Anyway, and here, but yeah, we got a barbecue house we found. Oh, it's probably 10 miles from the house altogether, but that's not very far. It may not even be that far. It's just on the other side of town. We drive to town, which
Other
is
side of Rogersville?
well, this the end of it. Rogersville's not a very big place. I'm sure you realize that. I don't know if anybody else does, but you drive just past it and go over the hill, and there's this barbecue place called Big H's. And we drove by it one day just purely accidentally. And I said, hey, there's a barbecue place. Let's check that out. Because you got to do that. And that turns out it's pretty good barbecue. And the only thing they don't have there is a really good. Wow. I wish you could.
What did you just see?
I wish you could see. It's got a whole bunch of purple finches just flew up and started to get on the feeder. And I guess they saw me. We've got bunches of them right now. And the males are just brilliant color right now. They're just, oh man, they're just so pretty. I need to put my, I've got a GoPro I got for Christmas. I need to set my GoPro up out here and let it film just the bird activity for a day, because they've been stopping right here in front of me about 5 feet. And if I'm in the house, I can sit here and watch them with my binoculars. And oh man, they're just so, when the sun hits them right there, just so pretty. I mean,
are they house finches or purple finches?
Oh, well, that's a really good question there, young man. I believe they're purple finches, but I think we've got both here also. We had both at the other house. And
well, the house finch has got like brown mixed in the purple, and it streaks, and it just doesn't look as brilliant. I've got a pile of purple finches that showed up here last week, and they're true purple finches. We've had house finches occasionally.
Yeah,
unlike they're just house sparrow, which is a totally different bird and
from a foreign country. Mike said, I don't think they could pass any bills to crack down on crime. Wait a minute. The government doesn't look like it functions well together out there. You've noticed that, haven't you? We'll save that for Thursday night, Mike. We'll talk about that sometime. Oh, wait a minute. Mike says, hang on there. Oh, he said, well, that's crazy talking about snakes, I think. And he's laughing about the snakes. And he said, oh my God, I don't know if that's the body part or, yes, Mark. Got my M's mixed up here. Yes, Mark used to have copperheads.
Had copperheads and cottonmouths and pygmy rattlesnakes and a big timber rattlesnake in Arkansas.
You had western diamondbacks and prairie rattlers probably, and
prairie rattlers, blacktails,
and
what else?
Multiple species.
Banded rock rattlesnakes. I had lots of snakes.
Look at the birds.
They weren't my pets. I didn't own them. They were research critters.
What? They've been coming back and forth. I think they're trying to go over there, and I think you scared them off. I mean, they're just coming right to the porch, and every time one of us moves, they leave. But they're getting braver and braver. So anyway,
in the last 2 weeks, we've had. I don't know if you saw my post or not. We've had
yes,
evening grosbeaks, rose-breasted grosbeaks, black-headed grosbeaks, and our very first ever blue grosbeak here at the house.
Which is a full house. That's a
grand slam for us.
It's like having 4 aces. Yeah.
We don't. There's also a pine grosbeak that lives in Wyoming, but we don't get them here. I mean, we're in the wrong habitat, but
Yeah.
we got
Well,
all
that's
the
what I was
ones
thinking.
that we've had, that we're supposed to have. We're all here this
Yeah,
year.
I saw that picture. That's cool. The only grosbeaks I ever saw in Nashville area that I'm sure of were a few rose breasted or whatever they. I think that's right. Is that the right name?
Yeah,
Rose breasted. Yeah,
yeah, they
I
got a
saw a few down
black
there.
head and then
Yeah,
a patch of rose on their chest.
yeah, that's the only ones I ever knew for sure that we had. Pine siskin. You have pine siskins out there?
Tons of them.
They're a neat bird. If you've never seen a pine siskin, look them up, guys, because they are designed to eat the seeds out of a pine cone, hence their name, I suppose. But their bill looks more like a pair of scissors. I mean, they don't meet together like most birds' beaks or bills or whatever the correct term is. Instead, they kind of offset at the ends, and I guess they're kind of skinny, but that's so they can get up in there. One of nature's, interesting designs. If I'm wrong, correct me.
They always show up here with the goldfinches,
Huh?
and they're always in big mixed flocks, and we'll have 50 of them in the yard. I mean, here eating out of the feeders,
Oh wow!
And they're such a tiny little bird. There, you see one next to a house sparrow or even a goldfinch. They're like, golly, that thing's little. Did you freeze that?
They must have a new pup over there. They're flipping over. They're chasing around in the yard, and he's flipping over, running upside down. They flipped him in. They hit him into like a ball. He just rolled down the hill there once. We're watching the dog. I'm watching. I can't help but see the dogs across the street. Those are the foster dogs that the guy takes care of over there. And they must have a pup because they were just giving him a hard time.
Did they get rid of the main one?
Squirrel. I've had several squirrels this morning. Well, I guess so. Haven't seen any more, haven't had any more altercations like that. Oh, actually, that's a different bunch. And I think the mean dog was down here. And I'm going to say this on live internet, but I'm pretty sure that dog may have met his demise. And we'll let it go with that because I saw one of the kids out behind the house the next morning digging a hole for something, let's just say. And I have a feeling that I know what was in that hole. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
So Christy come to visit.
Could be. Could. Oh, you made me suck my coffee down the wrong hole.
My job here is done then.
Do what?
I said, my job here is done. If I made you snort coffee out your nose.
Well, almost. That sucked down my windpipe for sure. That'll be good. I'll have good caffeine.
Wash out all of that salsa that you sucked in years ago.
And that probably happened for the same reason. Sitting here talking and eating or drinking. That's a warning that's the safety warning to everybody else. If you've never done this, don't be careful when you're eating hot salsa, spicy, or anything like that. Because if you happen to swallow it down the wrong hole, it gets in your windpipe, you're going to be in trouble. Because I like to never quit coughing and gagging. That choked me up. I mean, we were just sitting there eating that salsa like nothing, and I sucked some.
You had to
I'm quite sure.
Gordita.
I know, it was awful. And it just stayed in there, and I couldn't hack it up, but it wouldn't let me stop hacking. And salsas can be I got an itch or bite or something. Hang on a minute.
I always got an itch of
Could
something.
have been a bug bite.
Ground itch, spider bites, something.
Something like that, yeah. So anyway, yeah, our air conditioner's out, and we're not going to be able to get it fixed at least until Tuesday.
Brenda ain't happy.
What?
I said Brenda is not happy.
And if you didn't hear that, let me
Well, take
let
your
me
fan.
let me
I heard
clarify
Brenda
that.
wasn't happy.
She is not happy. She's been mad.
Take your fan and get you a wet towel and hang it over the front of the fan and make you a swamp cooler.
You hear that? Oh, you didn't hear that. Mark said, get a fan and hang a damp towel over it and turn it into a swamp cooler. He said,
Put a bucket of ice in front of it too.
make you what?
Put a bucket of ice.
Oh, yeah, you can put a bucket of ice in for them too. That works.
Yep.
Uncle Orville's air conditioning. Yeah, Mike, I've got a feeling that dog's probably resting in peace now. I don't know that for a fact. I never saw a body, but I did see it. I haven't seen that dog, and it got real quiet, and didn't hear a shot either. So I don't. But that's we were standing here yesterday, and I heard somebody shooting in the backyard, and I thought, well, that's kind of. At one time that might have bothered me, but out here it seems kind of normal. This is Tennessee, after all.
Okay, John. He just dropped off some clams and some piss clams.
Piss clams?
You're gonna have to explain yourself there.
Pal. Yeah, explain that, John. You gotta go in. You can't just drop a line like that and then walk away. I'm glad to know he's going to eat well, though, so it must not be too bad.
He's been out clamming this morning.
Either him or somebody else has.
Don't that sound like a good time?
It does. Man.
I'd sure like to be like in a big old oyster bed right now, like snatching them up off the bottom and
eating a few.
Oh, Ipswich or soft shells.
Ah, I got you.
I would love to have a big old mess of oysters right now, man.
My introduction to seafood was an interesting, I guess, experience. I'd never really had seafood. I'd eaten fish, but it's all local fish, bluegills and bass or something we call
fish.
Do what?
Freshwater fish.
Yeah, freshwater fish. And I went to Florida in high school with my buddy Kevin and his family. We drove down. Oh God, what a long trip that was. We drove down in a VW. What do they call those things? Yeah, they were like a high-end Volkswagen at that time, and it was a wagon, and it had a bigger engine in it than most Volkswagens. It had like a Porsche engine in it, 312 or something they called them. Anyway, I was crammed up in that thing with him, his sister, their little boy, and their baby, and a little old lady that used to hang around with them all the time and take care of kids and house clean and everything else named oh my God, what's her name, Brenda? He'll have to come back around on the guitar in a minute. Anyway, it was crowded. But we get down there, and it just so happened that the place we were going in Florida was, I think it was the deepest natural harbor in Florida. And they had a big fishing fleet that went in and out of there, and of course a fresh fish house, as they all do by the docks. And so somebody suggested that we have seafood one night. So we went down there, and we bought up several pounds of like fresh shrimp and several different types of fish. And then I think we went down on the other end of that island back then. There was an oyster canning facility. And it wasn't very big, but you could go down there and you could get absolutely fresh oysters right off the water, out of the water. And you could just get them. Let me think. You could get them canned, but they would can them right there in front of you, or somehow. I don't know how that worked exactly, but they would put them in a container and you could take them home, open them up. I mean, they were fresh. They just chucked them. So we went and got that, and they fixed up this big seafood feast, and I decided right then and there that I had been missing out on something something very important. We ate pill and shrimp. The shrimp were just cooked, boiled, and we peeled them and ate them, dipped them in salt or whatever, but we just ate them that way. I don't know if they ever cooked them in any other way. But the oysters, her name just about popped out there. The old lady fixed some of it because she'd been around a while and she knew how to cook things. I mean, she was such a good cook. And she fixed oysters. First time I ever had them, they were fried. And I know that's not the pure way to eat them, but back then I didn't know any different. So, I just absolutely fell in love with her fried oysters. Man, they were good. And we ate, what else did we eat? Not redfish, but snapper. We had some snapper.
Yeah.
Maybe some grouper. I won't say we had something more exotic than that, but I don't know if we had a billfish. I don't know if they had billfish down there per se or not. That island was back then. That island was real. It was kind of like living in South Jonesboro or something. I mean, it was just rural as it could be. A little bitty town, and then it kind of stretched out along the beach as coastal towns do, houses and stuff. And I don't remember there being that many people there, but there was a high school somewhere because that's where my buddy taught. He and another friend down there taught at the high school, taught biology, and well, I guess they were both biology. I don't know. They might have had to separate out. One of them was a marine biologist, and the other one was just in general biology. He worked on freshwater stuff most of his life. But anyway, and it was just a small place, and you could drive down to the far end of the island. And when you did, you went by this place where they were starting to build tennis courts and putting them some, I guess you could say, finer housing. But it was just this little place you passed. Now that whole island is known as the Amelia Island Plantation, and it's where they have these giant tennis tournaments down there now every year. And the whole island is just eat up with all that kind of stuff. It went from like I say, a coastal little country town. We're on the cusp of the mountains. They were on the cusp of the salt water. But other than that, we were very similar. And Florida sure has changed a lot since back then.
And then now they've got like high-rise condos and
wall to wall.
They've buggered it completely up.
Yeah. Hey, who did I just see in there? Hey,
Tina got donuts.
Doug. Hey, Doug. Somebody want to know back there. I missed it. Maple bacon. No, Tina said a Jetta. No, this was
pre-Jetta.
This was way back before the Jetta. I think it was called. They had two versions. They had a fastback of this and a wagon. I want to say they were 311s and 312s. Let me see if I can look that up real quick.
So
they were neat cars because they had that Porsche engine in them, so they actually sounded kind of good and ran much better than a regular Volkswagen. But it's still, you couldn't packing that many people, and it was rough.
So do you have? John was wondering if you had Locusts. Do you have Locusts this year?
No, we don't. Right here, we don't now. Down in Middle Tennessee, they do.
Well, they're supposed to have that two species of periodic cicadas coming out at the same time.
Right.
First time in 200 years.
Oh, really?
Which you could. I mean, it was like the 7 years and the 13 years, whatever year, locusts were supposed to come out at the same time, which means you wouldn't be able to hear yourself think.
Oh, they're awful.
And they were supposed to be really bad. That the first reports was it was going to be most of the eastern U.S. and then they have since refined it down to a much smaller area that they were going to all merge at the same time. And I guess, Illinois and Wisconsin and Iowa and places like that were really going to get hit hard. And
yeah, we had a huge, I thought at the time at least, a huge
emergence.
Yeah, I was trying to think what the word would be. Emergence. I don't want to say a bloom. We had a big emergence when I was in Nashville. We had them a couple of times while I lived down there, but we had one that was one summer they were really, really bad. So I thought that was when two different offsets had, combined and came out. Man, those things were everywhere and all over everything. And other than that,
probably that same year they had it too.
Yeah, probably.
And we have cicadas here. They're like a little sagebrush cicada. They get about 3/4 of an inch long.
Oh yeah.
And it's when they're out there, they're certainly making quite a bit of noise, but I can't. They literally said that the last time this happened was 200 years ago.
Wow. And, I didn't realize that. I didn't realize it'd been that long since this kind of emergency happened.
It's two together and
two big ones together.
Yeah, and they're really super abundant. Plus, you'll still have the big green jar flies out there doing their deal.
Yeah.
But Mom and Dad, I asked Mom and Dad if they had any of them, and they're not. They don't have them either this year. So
it's kind of amazing how you can sort of drive into them and out of them if it is happening. Like I said here, I don't know how many miles west you have to go from here, but you'd hit them down here somewhere between here and Nashville, and they could be pretty bad. But up here, I hadn't heard of one or seen one. Even normal, I'm sure there'll be some out sooner or later. But growing up, we always found the shells on the trees, and there's always a few of them around.
Well, we get these big emergences of other creatures out here, we talked about the mole crickets. That I found in my pasture last year, whenever it was, 2 years ago, and they get. There are places in Wyoming that get Mormon crickets really bad.
Yeah.
To the point where it literally makes when you're driving down the road, it's like driving on ice. There's so many of them that they're like out on the pavement, you know. And,
Oh Lord, that'd be bad.
It makes the road slick.
Phew. Well, our problem in Nashville, the year that we had them real bad, was that they okay. That was when I was talking. Let me back up a minute. Check. I found the squirrel. That was a 411 or 441. That was a 411 or a 412 Volkswagen station wagon. Is what it was, and it was more of a high performance Volkswagen than their standard fastback or wagon. They made some that were
those.
Huh?
I don't even know if I know that vehicle.
Well, yeah, there weren't a lot of them around, and that was the first one I'd ever been in, and it was a pretty neat car. Like I said, the engine in them was great, because they had a little bit bigger engine than their standard VW wagon, and they were more sophisticated, if you will, fancier car. But yeah, I didn't see. You never saw a lot of them. Anyway,
they look like a Volvo, boxy but good.
Safety car. Okay, where am I at here? Oh, and we got donuts. We got donuts. Best apple cider donuts I've ever eaten.
Tina got donuts.
This is where the cicada question came from. Just John, I guess you heard all that. Just parts of Tennessee. We don't have any up here. I doubt your brother's got any more than normal. Like Mark says, we always get a few not June bugs, but
jar flies.
Which are just, yeah, they're sort of a different kind of a cicada, but they're in that family, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're a cicada. They're just like the biggest one we have.
Yeah.
We always, when I was a kid, we called them jar flies.
Jar flies, right.
Because you put them in a jar.
Loud, but
you put them in a jar and you kept them in a jar.
Yeah. And they always hung out in the trees, you didn't see them that much. They were loud. Of course, we get katydid sort of emergencies here. It seems like some years there's more katydids than others. And I've stood out in the woods when katydids in the middle of the night when they were doing all their calling and hooking up and doing whatever katydids do with each other, to where it was almost deafening, the sound.
Yeah.
God, they're shrill. Cicadas are very similar, but they've got a little bit different. That katydid sound is really high pitched and really hurts your ears. Welcome in. Anna Lynn, is that close enough? Well, this computer is doing weird things. Just things are blacking out on me. I'm on binoculars. I see a new bird.
Yeah, you're a little choppy this morning compared to normal.
Talky?
Choppy.
Oh, am I?
Just a little bit. Just every now and again, you're a little palsy, and
that's why
you don't have the palsy. You're a little palsy.
You don't have the palsy. I know what you mean. Some people might not know what that means. Yeah, that's why I didn't want to go out in the garage or the library this morning. I was afraid it'd be too choppy. But cross your fingers. I'm hoping by next weekend I'm set. Now I've got a lot of work to do out there still, as far as unpacking and getting my books on shelves and that sort of thing. But at least I could go out there and do a show. It's driving me nuts right now. It's really. I realized I was in a bad mood the other day, and I pretty much figured out why. I'm so frustrated with the things I cannot do right now that just absolutely are driving me nuts and pissing me off. And that's because I can't lift and tote things. I've got a desk that's got to leave here go out of a room here and go up to the library because Brenda doesn't want it, and it's going to be perfect for me to hook my computer stuff up on because it's the really nice desk that Brenda found. This doesn't have a place for my monitors.
You're not
And
cut it open.
do what?
You're not gonna cut on
Oh, I'm not going to cut on it. Oh, my desk?
it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not cutting on anything. So I got to wait to do that. And then on top of that, we bought that really nice bookshelf / curio type cabinet. And I needed a base for it because it's not really, it's about 5 feet tall, but that's from the ground. It needs to be up a little bit higher. So I bought a stand to go underneath it. I don't know which one you call a hutch, but top or bottom, but this is the bottom. And I can't unload it. It's still in the back of the Mazda, and we can't get it out till we get some help. Nobody's been able to come up in the last few days. So that inability to just, back that thing up to the door and heft it out of there is starting to irritate me a little bit. But we'll get it in there. It's going to get better.
You need you a little piece of equipment of some form.
Yeah, I do. Maybe like a backhoe. And lift it up and set it over there. Yeah, I'm trying to decide on that too. So here's my dilemma. Well, it's not totally a dilemma yet, but I'd like to have something to drive around here to get around and move stuff like Brenda's doing right now. She's got a wagon that she moves her pot and soil and her plants and all that stuff around. But it's getting heavy. It gets heavy. It's hard to pull. So it'd be nice to have something she could tow that with. And then I'd like to have something that I can haul other stuff with because I can't carry it all the time. And I'm trying to decide, do I want to get like an up? And this is probably where I'll go to use like a side-by-side, a small one. I don't need a big one. Or do I buy, and look around, make sure nobody's mowing. Or do I buy me a lawnmower tractor and just use it to tow a trailer around the property, and then I could mow. Brenda thinks we can mow if we had the right lawnmower, or at least she could, and I wouldn't have to pay a guy to mow my yard, and then I could, kind of kill two birds with one stone. But I can't make up my mind because if I buy a 2-seater side by side, either I got to buy an attachment for it that'll mow, or I don't use it for mowing. I know they make attachments you can put on the back of them and mow, but I don't know, what that would cost or how much it would take. Okay, she wants to know. Oh, wait a minute, what's going on here? My wife on social media too much, end of the world, biblical proportions. Uh-oh. What? Yeah, John, do we need to, is that something we all need to know about? All I know from back then is the micro. Okay, I found that car, and I think I told you it's a 411. And I think there was a 411 was a fastback, and the 412 was a full wagon.
We had fastback.
What?
We had fastback.
Yeah, Brenda grew up with a fastback. Let's see here. Tina says she just wants to know when to pack, John.
Here's one for sale.
What, a side by side?
The 411.
Oh, you found one.
They're yeah, I think you're gonna want something you can at least mow with and use as a little utility tractor or something.
Well, that's the way I'm leaning, because like I said, we could use it, the money we spend now to pay somebody to mow it, because we can't walk it. Neither one of us can walk that far. The money we spend for that, we could probably pay for a lawnmower or a tractor, and they're actually a lot cheap. You can get a pretty damn nice one, a lot cheaper than you can in these 4-wheeler.
Get you a little 8-in Ford.
You know what? I saw one of them for sale the other day. And I thought, well, that's what we need, is a little 8-inch Ford with a bush hog on the back. We'll
Yeah,
just drive that around. What?
there
Oh.
is a major game of grab ass going on in my yard right now.
With birds or something else?
I got two border collies chasing each other as hard as they can chase, and two adult magpies dive bombing them through the whole deal.
I bet two adult magpies can get with them too.
They're
Feel that?
the chicks fledged out of the net. They got those big covered nests. They actually built a roof on the top of their nest,
Yeah.
and they had like 6 chicks, and one of them come out pretty early, and I think the dogs got it, and the other 5 they're flying and fledged now, and but the parents are still.
Dive bombing.
Well, I don't know. I think my little liver colored border collie caught that one chick, and they have a vendetta out. The other dogs go out in the yard, and the magpies don't bother them at all. But the 2 border collies, they're
Birds birds can remember that kind of stuff.
well, especially corvids.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's just like crows back here. Crows remember people and they remember things. Just like you walk out to a bunch of crows. We used to have a bunch of crows that hung out outside our office and up near the lake, and they'd hang out at some pine trees along the drive there, and we'd go out on the porch of that office, and those crows would just hang around. They wouldn't do anything, they'd just sit there and make noise and gawk at you. And it used to drive my buddy Steve crazy. He said, "There's something wrong in this world." He said, "Crows ain't afraid of people anymore." He said, "That ain't right." But you walk out there with a shotgun and they were gone. They weren't stupid. That kind of stuff seems to pass down through the generations too. They don't have to relearn it. They seem to know it.
Oh my God!
Cool birds, those corvids.
I got a herd of dogs fighting, not fighting, wrestling.
I heard that. I saw your wife in a picture yesterday, sitting in her easy chair with her feet up and her head back, and 2 big old dogs laying on her. A liver-colored border collie in her face, and a big old black Boudreaux Campbell stretched out across her legs. I was thinking, oh my God, that would probably kill me. He's heavy enough that I couldn't move if he was on me.
He sits in Mama's lap every night. She'll be doing her crochet work, and he'll be up in her lap, kind of get semi getting in the way. And Penny has decided, that little liver dog, she's decided here in the last week, which is weird, that she needs to jump up there too. So yeah.
So now there's competition for that lap space.
Well, and you saw the photo with the dogs were stretched out on Caitlin was sitting on one end of the couch, and the dogs were all sitting. They were stretched out sleeping on the rest of the couch, and it's like, no couch for you, buddy.
They were just squirrel. I'll come back to that. Yeah, I saw that. They were stretched out to the point where they were taking up the whole thing, and she had a spot on the end, but then I think it was the liver dog came up and just started laying on her.
Yeah.
So I think that was sort of a hint that this couch is for us. No humans allowed.
Yeah, we don't have spoiled rotten dogs at all.
No. I've been out there. They don't.
They don't have a special spot.
No, not no. I was out there for a week or 10 days or whatever. I was out there. Oh God, there comes the hound dog. Tina, can you hear him?
I hear him.
There's the hound and his buddy, who looks like he's probably half hound. The one that's making the most noise is a kind of a black and tan. To me, looks like a foxhound, but he's probably some kind of coon dog. And he ran all the way down to the road, right in front, looking right at me like, I'm going to bark at you now because I've been up here in the house and I hadn't been able to bark. So now it's your turn. I mean, we're not doing anything we weren't doing 10 minutes ago, but he's down here barking at us. Or at least he's barking at Brenda. Maybe that's what it is.
See you, Mike.
See you, Mike. Glad you had a chance to stop in. We need to, Mike, we need to have a phone call this week sometime. We hadn't talked in forever. My phone does still work, so I'm going to have to do that. See y'all next Saturday or Thursday, maybe. Thursday nights are probably not ready. Well, I don't know. I might. It could happen. Now that I'm getting things done. I just figured out why the squirrel I saw when you were talking was, last week when I was traveling, I couldn't figure out I didn't know how to hook 2 cameras up so that you could see me, but also see out the front. And the temperature dropped a minute ago. Did you feel that? I mean, pretty significantly. It's getting ready to rain, I think. And I just figured out how to do that. I looked it up, and there's a place, and I didn't know this was here. But if I go down while we're in studio here, as they call it, and I click on present, there is actually a place to put an extra camera. I'm going to take a chance here. Let's hope I don't screw up. See what you get by upgrading. Upgrade. Oh, I got to upgrade again to get that. Okay. I'm going to figure out how to do that. So if that's going to be too much trouble, I might change from StreamYard. If I'm going to have to pay for it, I may change to a better or a different streaming program. That's not a bad looking dog.
There's old Blue. He's got a choppy bark.
My uncle's used to be.
There comes an old bell. She's got a yodel.
My uncles used to be able to tell their dogs.
What's that?
My uncle and his friends used to be able to tell their dogs. They'd go out coon hunting at night. And honestly, what they did, or fox chasing or whatever, but they just like to let the dogs run. They'd sit around the fire. And you too, John. Have a great weekend. Tell Dad we said hi. They'd go out and build a fire on top of a ridge somewhere and sit there and whittle and spit and probably sip a little something. And they just let the dogs run all night. They could hear them all running down, in the hollers around to make it. And then they go call them in. Most of the time they got them back. It wasn't a problem. Every once in a while they'd lose one. But
we would lose a dog when I was running with the Hound Boys. We'd lose a dog. Every now and again, they'd get on a bear or something and go clear to North Carolina, probably.
Yeah.
And we would, you just left your hunting coat there where we had dropped them out. You'd just take your hunting coat and leave it there on the ground, and you'd come back the next morning, they'd be curled up on that coat, ready for pickup.
I didn't know. I never thought of that.
We did that so many times. I was like, well, this isn't an accident. I mean, they always seem like when they got tired of running, they came home.
I could smell it. Get off of me, bug. I was trying to look at a bug. There's a bad bug in this. I don't know if they're down here yet or not, but it's coming into the country.
Oh, I
heard about it. Huh?
It's a new one?
Well, I think it's relatively new, but it's called it's some kind of a something eating into my ear there, man. Hang on. I have to take my earring out. I may have something
Bug.
under it. They're like a glass. They're called a glass wing or looking glass bug or beetle. They've got their wings are kind of transparent, but they've got colors in them. And I just saw something like that sitting there, but that was all black and white, so I don't think that's what that was. But anyway, yeah, they were. I read. It's been a couple years now. I read about them. I think it was before I left work. It might have been just about the time I retired, but it was something new. They had people on the watch out for, and I'd have to collide. Maybe it's called a kaleidoscope beetle, but it was the next thing coming down the pike after the last great invasion. So it just, and I think it too was Asian. Seems like most of the stuff we've had in the last 20 years has been Asian.
Yeah.
Or not 20 years, the last 30 or 40 years. With the few things that came out of Europe have pretty much either killed everything off or they've gone away finally. I mean, like chestnut blot, that came out of Europe, I'm pretty sure. Oh, no, that may have come out of China, actually, because we imported.
They've been hitting us with bioweapons for 100 years.
Actually, that's Chinese chestnuts didn't really get big in this country until after the big chestnuts started dying. And they thought that might be a replacement for the fruit, but they've never been as good as the American chestnut about producing. And they never get that big, so you don't have that lumber issue either. I mean, how American chestnuts
figured
were.
out why they haven't tried European chestnuts, and maybe they have, but
yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
My buddy was just in Italy for golly, he was over there for like 3 weeks, and they got up in some, they did all the touristy things around the Colosseum and all that stuff, and then his people were from there, and then they went north up into the hills and vineyard country and woods and there were chestnut trees everywhere, I guess.
Wow.
He sent me photos. He's like, "What in the heck is this thing?" And I'm like, "How am I supposed to know?"
Do they produce fruit like the American chestnuts did?
And it had a big old spiky ball on it. And I'm like, "Well, it looks like a chestnut to me, like an American chestnut, like they looked like." Because we had one, we had a probably 3-foot diameter chestnut that lived on my grandpa's place for most of my growing up period.
It died.
They had a big old spiny. The fruit was in a big, the nut was in a big spiny, whatever you would call that.
Burr.
Yeah, big burr, and then inside was where the chestnuts were at. And I remember like eating myself nearly sick under that tree. And,
well, they've got something called the European.
You had to want those. You had to want those nuts. You had to. It was a little bit to get them out of there because they were so spiky. It was like grabbing a teddy bear choya or something like that.
Yeah, I've stepped on plenty of them. I know exactly how they feel.
And then
look at these two. These are apparently a Spanish chestnut. Those are some pretty big nuts.
Yeah, and that's the same species that we decided they had in Italy. They were great big fruit, but they were spiky, and I'm like, well, it looks, that looks like a chestnut, and we went through the googly earth or Google thing and found that it was a Spanish chestnut or Spanish or Italian chestnut.
I got to look that up because if those will grow here and produce fruit, I'm going to plant some on my property. I'd much rather have that as the Chinese chestnut because they don't get as big. They're not, they're just kind of a squatty tree. A little bit bigger than a shrub probably, but the biggest
These
one
are
I've ever
great
seen.
big trees.
Yeah. Like
Probably
American
not as big
chestnut.
as an American chestnut, but pretty big trees.
Well, that was another reason they brought Chinese chestnuts in. They were hoping they could do something with that and replace the American chestnuts, but they never get that big for one thing. And
I
they just
always
don't.
wondered if you could transplant chinkapins.
Oh, chinkapins are hard to find these days.
Are they about gone too?
Well, the last time I heard they were, I haven't seen one in ages, but I hadn't been out looking for them in a while. We had one small chinkapin left on the campus at UT. Well, I
Yeah.
say left, they probably put it there on purpose, but there was one there just in front of the ag building where I had a lot of classes, and I used to go out there. And I went out there and discovered it. I mean, they all knew it was there, but I found it, which meant I had to have a few chinkapin nuts because I've always liked. I mean, they're like a little chestnut, but they're sweeter or something. There was something about them I just thought was really good.
Well, we used to find them, as you remember, up on Unaka. There was that one ridge that
Bye,
always
Diana.
had lots of chinkapins on it.
Thanks for coming in. Tell Mike we need to do a phone call this week sometime in case he was gone. Maybe we'll do one with more people in it. I don't know. We'll see if I can do that. Anyway, I wish we could put something back in the. It'd be interesting to know why we've not done European chestnuts unless they don't make it here either. Maybe that damn block polluted our ground so much nothing will grow.
Yeah, maybe.
Except Chinese chestnuts. And they were apparently immune to it. They've been trying. They've been working still on trying to get chestnuts, that are blight resistant. But I don't know if they've got to the point where they're mature enough to produce fruit yet, or if they've not even gotten that far. But the guy I worked with to put that orchard in up on North TVA property, he was working on that too for a while, and I don't know where they fin. I don't know if he's off that crew now or not. He may be. The last chestnut I saw, we had a American chestnut on the property also, and it got to be about 3 or 4 inches around, and then it was starting to die off already. It never produced fruit. And usually, if they did produce fruit, the fruit was they were sterile. You didn't get any nuts off of them, or they just weren't producing. They might produce a burr, but you didn't get any nuts. Speak of anyway. So how's it going over there, darling?
Very productive.
I see that. Do you need something to sit down on? Okay. Well, I just don't want you wobbling and falling down. Anyway, Mark had to step away. I don't know if anybody's left, but maybe Tina. Maybe not. Maybe it's just me and Mark. I bet Tina's still here. Well, they're driving around though, so they may not be either. There him is.
Sorry, I had to step away a minute.
Not a problem.
Everybody left us.
Well, I don't know. Maybe. I think Tina and Chuck are probably still out there listening.
We didn't have no topic today.
No, this was bullshitting on the porch with Tim and Mark again. Oh, I tell you, that's who I hadn't seen. Carol. I wonder if she's on vacation or something. I just realized she wasn't in here. Chuck's still here.
I'm eating my buddy, my counterpart from fisheries is I think he's an official master gardener.
Yeah.
Lives down in Green River. And I think he actually has a certificate master gardener and has wonderful garden and always gives away lots of produce. And he made me a jar of pickles, dill pickles, and they're hot.
Ah.
And I can only eat like one at a time because they're species spicy.
They're species spicy.
Anyway,
I like sweet hot pickles. Your mom used to buy some in Jonesboro there, and I don't remember what brand they were. I thought I knew, but I've never been able to find them down here or in Knoxville that were the same, or maybe Nashville, that were quite the same combination of sweet and hot. I like a sweet hot combo because one kind of they bring out the flavor, but one kind of calms down the other one.
Well,
Just
my dad
enough to-
always liked sweet pickles, and
Yeah.
he liked dill pickles too, but he likes sweet pickles, and I really like Clausen pickles, dill pickles. The spears and the slices and what they just taste better than every other pickle, I think, that you can get commercially at least. And Shauna bought us a great big jar, brought them home, and I'm like, oh God, Clausen dill pickles. And I opened up the jar and took a big one out and took a big bite of it, and it was a sweet pickle. And I hate sweet pickles.
Oh no.
I can't stand them. And I'm just like, oh my God, what just happened? Because my mind was ready for a dill
Big
pickle,
old dill pickle.
and I got a sweet pickle instead. And it's hard for your tongue to make that adjustment. I was
Yeah,
like, oh God, what happened?
there's something to that saying about I had my mouth set. I had my mouth set for something else.
I had a craving flung on me, and then all my hopes got dashed.
That's one way to put it.
What was that?
My wife is over here breaking up a terracotta pot. She must be going to use
I
it.
thought something was coughing and gagging.
The bottom for drainage.
She's going to use it for rubble in the bottom of something. You know, there's a hammer in there. You could break that up better, probably. You got a couple more broken ones right over here.
She just using her fist or what?
Or consider you using your fist or what? She's banging it on the porch. She's breaking it on the side of the porch.
Oh my God.
There's a blue hammer laying. She knows. She wants me to shut up.
Feels good.
Let her do it her way.
It feels good to break stuff.
Oh well, you can still break it. Just use a hammer. She said it feels good to break stuff right now. I'm not sure how to take that exactly. But I have a pretty good feeling, I know. The day you leave town is the 5th. What day is that?
It feels good to break stuff.
Yes, it does. I said, you're leaving town on the 5th. What day is that in the week? Is that like middle of the week?
I'm not leaving town.
Well, leaving home. Town is a generic term for where you live for me.
I've been to a town, Dale. As Jeremiah Johnson would have said. I leave on Wednesday the 5th. We're driving down to Creekmoors, and then we go from there on the 6th to Denver and get on an airplane and fly to Atlanta. And then
you sit around there for a little while, and then you head to Africa, right?
We're there. I I don't know how long we're there, 4 hours maybe, and then we get on the airplane for Johannesburg.
I was going to show you. I meant to mention this. It's an odd thing, but I got this cup
That
from
is,
the people that I spent millions of dollars with putting my teeth in, fixing. That's what that represents.
oh, that's an implant.
Yeah, it's an implant. I got some done. I'd get more implants done, and I highly recommend them, but they are damn expensive, so I couldn't afford to do all of them anymore. But what I was going to tell you about this cup is to see if you recognized anything about it. It's a metal cup.
Looks like you need to suck and blow at the same time.
Exactly. That's a suck and blow cup. Although it's got a lip on it that seems to do a pretty good job of transferring that heat. I hadn't burned myself on it yet, but then again, I do know how to suck and blow and work a cup like that because I have experience. But everybody don't have that experience.
Everybody's not drank hot coffee out of a tin cup before.
No. And if you haven't, if you ever want to try it, just remember you got to kind of blow to cool it off and suck to get the coffee in. But if you don't do that combination just right, you can choke or burn yourself. Or I mean, it's a tricksy little thing to learn. But once you pick it up, you're probably not gonna ever know.
Kind of like playing a didgeridoo. You got to do that circular breathing thing.
Yeah, there you go. There's a thought. Didgeridoo. I hadn't put that together lately. Whoa. I'd like to have one of them. I like the sound of them. Look at that dog, Brenda. That other dog over there is laying down right in front of it. And that big hound is just looking right down at him and barking. Kind of like, come on, get up. Get up from there. Let's go run. Let's chase something. I'll show you how to bark and bay and tree a cat, or let's tree one of our other friends here. Oh. Anyway,
well, I'm surprised they're not. There's got to be a gazillion coons in that country.
I am sure there are. Let me tell you what Brenda did, I don't know yet what's the culprit, if you want to call it a culprit. Brenda laid out some watermelon rinds last week or so, and she's been doing that for years because the squirrels will eat, out of it, or at least if there's melon left, and birds will get the seeds if there's any, and they'll, just different things like to eat it. And so she put some rinds out the other day and out behind the house. And I guess, what did you lay them out for, just to see what would happen? Huh?
Just let them eat it.
See what ate it. But what ate it was something that was big and toothy, because something came down and cleaned it right down to the rind, and there's teeth marks in it. So I need to study that and figure out if that's a coon or a possum or something along those lines.
That big hound from across the road, or
well, they don't seem to get out and walk over here though. I don't think it's them.
Bear.
What?
The bear.
Brenda said, or a bear. I hope we see a bear. I'd like to have a bear in my woods. I think that would make that might make the rest of my life.
I bet they're close.
Oh, I guarantee you they ain't far. We're not that far from the Cumberlands. The Cumberlands has got plenty.
Might have been a white-tailed deer.
Could have been a white-tailed deer. We've got plenty of those.
Looked like, but
yeah, I didn't look at the teeth marks. He said it was full of teeth marks where they chewed it off. So could even have been a raccoon or a fox, not a raccoon.
Well, out here, people can't. During Halloween, people can't do Halloween with pumpkins, with jack-o'-lanterns. You put them out in your yard, and the mule deer eat them faster than you can set them down. You literally come in and just like clean them up. They're just gone.
Wow. Well, that could be. That's a good point. It could be coyotes or
There's
foxes too.
Carol.
They'll eat that stuff. Carol, I know. She just popped in. Hey, good morning, Carol. I was just talking about you. Your ears burning. I don't think there's very many of us left, so it's good to see you.
We thought you were off like on a whirlwind vacation somewhere.
Yeah, I thought maybe you were out touring the country or something. Said she had breakfast with some old friends. Well, that's nothing wrong. That's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
I'm sure you get more out of that than you will sit here and listen to us on a Saturday morning.
Because we're not talking about nothing today.
We're talking about nothing, and we're talking about everything. I've chased a few squirrels. We're looking at birds. Talked about the hound dogs across the road. Brenda's gardening here a little bit on the porch, or around the porch, I should say. She's spent a small fortune on new flowers and plants to put up around here because that's something she wants to do. I know soon. I don't know when there might be a time to get, but I'm sure there's going to be azaleas in my front yard sooner than later. Because she's wanted to do that for years. She had a really pretty one growing at the other house. Oh my God! And speaking of the other house, we talked to the I don't know what you call her. Get out of here, Yellow Jacket. Did you see
him? Oh yeah, he hovered right in front of the camera.
Yeah. The landlord, or not, whoever we talked to and dealt with the house, she called because I don't know why she called, trying to figure something out. But anyway, she was telling Brenda all they've done to the house. And they've basically, and our neighbors have been kind of keeping an eye on it too. And Sarah's mom and dad. And they've stripped the house almost and literally gutted it. They've taken out walls. They've stripped the plywood, the carton shit. What is it? Drywall off of everything. They found all kinds of squirrel sign with the electric wires, and she said, "I'm surprised you guys could get anything to work with the wiring the way it was." And and we did have a problem with blowing light bulbs. Some of the light fixtures in the house wouldn't hardly. You couldn't hardly put a bulb in there. Don't care what kind it was. It didn't last very long. And but they also knocked down all the walls back on the back porch where I used to sit and look out that sliding door. Although they are putting part of it back in. I thought maybe they were going to try to slope it and get rid of that altogether, but I don't think they've got enough room for that on the upper side. Now they poured a new concrete pad. They're going to spend a fortune on that house trying to get it ready to rent. They're hoping to rent it. Now, I know for some of you people, this might not sound like much, but here it's a huge number. Or I thought it was. They're hoping to get $3,000 a month for it. So just to put that in perspective, that's well over 3 times what we were paying. So, somebody's hoping to, I guess, make their money back and get rich quick or something. I don't know I really don't know what's driving that. I don't think the lady that owns it, who lives in California, I don't think she knows. I don't think this was her idea. I think she's older than Brenda and I, so she's at least in her 70s or 80s. I'm thinking she ain't gonna get her money's worth out of this house, and that house is gonna be she's not gonna be around to collect. So I'm not sure who's driving this, but I don't think it's her. Is it really squirrel chasing? If you have no, I was gonna bring that up, Tina. I'm glad you pointed that out. I was thinking about that a minute ago. This really is kind of the whole topic of squirrel chasing. Now I just saw something interesting. I just had a bee fly by me, and it hovered around the edge of the porch here for a minute, and I saw what looked like drops of water dripping off of it. I've never seen that before. Interesting. So where are you, Carol? Are you back home now, or? So yeah, good point, Tina. I don't think these count as squirrels because squirrel chasing is sort of the topic for the day. I think I see a bluebird sitting right there on the wire. I've got a glare. I can't see very well, so I'm squinting. But in fact, I see two of them, I believe. Yeah, that's a female. I bet that's the male right over there. So they're nesting here somewhere close by. I'm trying to figure out. I wanted to put up a bluebird box, but it was kind of late when we got here. They were already nesting, so I didn't do it. But they'll be up before next season, I can guarantee you. So how's everything at home, Carol? Are you guys in a? I don't know. You got kids at home, I guess. Do you guys do year-round school or summer? But you off in the summers? I can't remember. I know you're off some. There he is.
Sorry, my wife's trying to get out with a bunch of boxes and things for recycling, and I've been loading.
No problem. I was telling them I just saw a strange thing. I don't think I've ever seen. I just had a wasp. Just had a wasp fly by. I thought it came off the wall here behind me, honestly. But it flew by, got about to the edge of the porch, which is 5 feet from me. And I could see it, a big old drop of water formed on it, and it dropped the water, or if it wasn't water, I don't know what it was. I've just never seen that happen. It's almost like it landed in some water, and it was running off the back of it, dripping.
What? Where?
I don't remember. There's my spells unit. What? Your what? You had a big cup of water last time I saw. Well, she's lost her Coca-Cola.
So, Carol's, you're teaching till mid-June?
Wow.
School?
So you guys don't get a whole lot of time off. July to early August.
Our kids are done next week.
Now, our kids actually are graduating right now, I think, or already have. I don't know if any of you follow Sarah, the pilot, that the young lady we had on our show that was our neighbors. She graduated Thursday. We were talking to her mom about it because, if we'd been able to go, we might have gone to see her graduate. But it turned out that they were having it outside, and Thursday night they'd already rescheduled it once. And I don't know, most of the schools down here don't do this. Like most of the schools around here, all of them have some kind of deal with the city, and they go to the Coliseum or the Civic Center, and they all do graduations on different days, but they use that facility. So there's lots of room, and it can be indoors, and for some of the bigger high schools. But they decided to do theirs outside. And maybe that's traditional for them. That high school, I don't know. But it poured down rain. So we got pictures of Sarah and her friends, and they look like they've been swimming in their robes and all that stuff. They were soaking wet, and all the parents were soaking wet. And one of the lady that she's been flying with, and it works for the company that Sarah's been kind of doing marketing work with. She went, and she was soaking wet. So it turned out to be a very wet graduation, but that was Thursday, so most of the schools around here are finished. Yes, our schools go to mid-June too, and they go back the Wednesday after. So you guys don't go back until after Labor Day, so that's one thing. See, our kids start back
in August,
mid-August now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
I
way
mean, even and it seems like it's getting closer and closer to the end of July. We used to get out in May, sometime in May, depending on what the weather had been through the
just
winter, and
before
then
Memorial Day, and then we
oh
went
yeah,
back
wait, but
just after Labor Day.
yeah, because the county fair was always right at the end of the first of August, no September, into August, September. We never went back till after the fair started, but
Well,
they
and
do now. They go way early.
we didn't have any days like,
For the earliest
you know,
graduating
they gave
class,
us a certain number of days for
What?
we were the earliest graduating class that there had been.
Oh yeah, we graduated early May our year, and Brenda was just saying that that was the earliest graduating class that there'd been in that county, maybe since they kept records. I don't know, but that's not normal. That particular year we didn't. I think that was the year after the big blizzard. That year we didn't miss a lot of school. Oh, here comes the motorcycle gang. Sounds like BMW.
But they used to do
Uh,
Thanksgiving, Christmas, little short breaks, and then
yeah,
that was it. We didn't have any
Problem,
like
I know.
teachers didn't get off. There wasn't no like I call them. I always tease my teacher son-in-law and teacher daughter that you guys just have like send the kids home days regularly now.
I'm just waving at the riders coming by. That was a bunch of Harley people there, all riding baggers, touring people. Here comes a bunch more. I love this part. I love this part of living on this highway because there's lots of motorcycles, but I'm not one of them right now. And that's killing me.
Okay, I got the solution for you. You get yourself one of them 3-wheelers, not the back, not the
Trust it.
Honda 3-wheeler. Get yourself one of them backwards 3-wheelers
Yeah,
and hook you up a hitch to the back of it. You can haul stuff around the yard,
that's a good idea.
and you could go ride when the boys come by.
You can't hear him. Mark said the solution to our problem is we buy a Spider and we put a hitch on it, and then we can drive it around the yard with your wagon, and I can get on it and take a trip. Hey, buddy, can you guys see the door? Teddy's looking out. Let me see if I can.
And maybe you could even get a little mower deck for under it.
Yeah, maybe I could. I'll have to look into that. I'm sure that the same company builds those things as makes the Ski-Doos, and they make Bombardier, or what's the name of their 4-wheeler line? They've got a whole line of side by sides and that kind of stuff. I guarantee you they make mowing attachments for that. So surely I can get one and hook up to my motorcycle. That's a good idea.
Get you a PTO shaft on the back of that thing. You could pull a little bush hog and a hitch so you could pull a little wagon. And then you can like put your helmet on and go for a haul around the country.
Just got to remember to take the wagon off before I go. Hey, Brenda, look here. He's sitting here in the window. I wonder if he wants to come out.
I still don't see him.
Yeah, the glare on the window, you can't see him. He's meowing like, come on in, guys. What are you doing out there on the porch?
What was that racket?
Has he ever been outside?
Since we've been here. He don't even want to go. Normally, he doesn't even act like he wants to go outside.
The trip up here was pretty traumatic.
Huh?
Yeah,
the trip up here is kind of dramatic, I think, for both of them. They never had to do anything like that since we've had them.
Well,
You gonna come out?
they ought to be settling in by now.
Come here, buddy. Come here.
You want to come see Daddy?
Come here. Come see me. Come on.
It's been a little while now.
Come on. Come on. Yeah. Come on.
It's okay.
Well, I think he's actually gonna step out.
Teddy, come here and see us.
Everybody says, "Come on, Teddy. Come visit."
Come visit.
Well, he lets you pick him up. I got the door. He's not sure about that. We need to have something.
Outside your natural habitat, dude. Wow.
He don't know that. You got it. He don't know that part. Ever since we got them, they've been in the house, and I don't know why they were born outside, obviously, and they were grew 3 or 4 weeks outside. And then once we rescued them and found them in the back of the truck, they were only about 4 weeks old. And other than go to a vet, they've never been out of the house and never acted like they wanted to go out the door or get anywhere past the window. And if I opened the window, they didn't. I opened the window the other day to see if I could hold him, or not the other day, but not too long after we moved here. And I held him up to the window, and he just got down and left. He didn't want nothing to do with that either. There goes some more BMW riders, much quieter than the other guys.
He might not get along too well with the neighbor.
Might not. And I just assumed he didn't get out much anyway. I know that's natural, but it's not natural habitat for these cats. They're domestic.
Yeah, and
and they eat too many wild things or kill too many wild things.
Certainly, if there's a hound next door, he probably don't.
Yeah, he wouldn't. Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to start that. I looked out the back window the other day, speaking of cats out, and there was a big old orange tabby cat.
Of course it was.
skulking down through my garden and sniffing around the gate. There's a little gate on the garden spot, and working its way down through there. And I thought, you SOB. I said, I wouldn't have a thing against you, but if I see you start eating my birds or something, I'm going to assassinate you in the night.
We're going to have a conversation.
We're going to have a conversation. That's right. I know that sounds terrible because I love cats, but I like my wild cats wild and my house cats house cats. They just, unless they got a good barn to live in where they kill rats and keep, rodent populations in check with a big old black snake, then that's one thing. But just out here killing.
We got somebody dumped a female out at the northeast corner of our property. There's an old railroader house out there.
Carrier.
He won't get in the carrier.
Well, he got in, but then he escaped.
He didn't like the idea of you zipping him up. I wish we could get him out here. If I get him out here and set for a little while, I think he'd get used to it. But I'll work on that. So he decided he wasn't going to come out today. So I was going to take him. I was going to try to put him in the carrier today and take him up to the library if I was broadcasting from up there, because I wanted to let him start wandering around exploring the library. His chair's up there. His special chair from the show, and I was hoping maybe he'd find that chair and feel like he was at home again. But anyhow, look at the buzzards out there swirling, babe. Well, that's 2, but I saw some more out there a minute ago. Almost like they're cuddling up. It's way too early for that unless they're still going north.
That reminds me of a joke with a rooster.
A joke with a rooster?
Yeah, you're talking about turkey vultures?
Yeah. Well, or blacks, I'm not sure which. I can't see them that well.
There was a randy old rooster that lived on a farm that bred everything.
Oh yeah.
And then one day he was just laying out there on the ground. The farmer came to like put him out of his misery, and turkey vultures were circling overhead. And the farmer's like, well, I guess I got to put you out of your misery, buddy. And he said, shut up, you fool, they're about to land.
Yeah. I hadn't heard that in a long time. Shut up, they're about to land.
That's as politically correct as I could make that joke.
Yep.
Shut up, you fool, they're about to land.
I had another chickadee. Man, there's a bunch of buzzards out here right now. I just had another chickadee land right here in front of me. They're working with. They're trying to get comfortable to come to the feeder. There you are. Come on, get something to eat, buddy. Well, they're getting close. They're trying. I got to get me a good camera again, because I'm not missing too many opportunities of good pictures that I could get with a better camera.
If you got like a feeder that's 5 feet from you and they're landing right there, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're not really on the feeders yet, but they're landing on the rail and the we got shepherd's hooks or whatever you want to call them. The feeders are hanging just off the porch. And they're landing on the hooks, but they haven't really. Most of these feeders are made so they have to go inside the cage to get the seeds. Sometimes that keeps squirrels off. Sometimes it don't.
No squirrels yet.
No. Well, I saw one. I did see one nearby the other day, but I don't know if he was in our yard or not. And I thought, you son of a bitch, you better stay up there and not get down and start eating my bird food right now. Sooner or later they'll be here. I just don't want them to start yet.
I have so many blackbirds right now, red wings and yellow-headeds, that I fill the feeders like at 10 to noon, and they're empty before dark, completely empty, just like we're pouring through the feed right now.
Well, you know what, Brenda? We only had a couple of feeders out here. She's got 1, 2, 3, 4 out right now, but
there's another one at the library.
Huh?
Another one at the library.
Yeah, and there's one up at the library. That's where we first saw the chipmunks. We got chipmunks coming to the feeders too, but because I love to see them fly. They're cool. They are so cool. And but she had one of these that they were emptying about every 2 days. For us, that was pretty quick. She came in last night, I think it was, and said, damn, they've already emptied that feeder, and I just filled it up. So depending on what's in them, which is mostly, I think, what they're really going after right now is the black oil seed, sunflower seeds. But Tina said that house cats and barn cats do not belong in the wild. And she also said they know they're better off inside, don't even want to be left out. The cats.
And Tina's going through 20 pounds of feed every 2 days. That's kind of how,
Wow.
I feed. All I do is drive to the feed store anymore.
I know. Seems like every time I talk to you, you're either heading to the feed store or you just got home.
It's just like, we got all those goddamn chickens and we got a pile of them. And so got to feed chickens, and then we feed the wild birds, and man, they go through and if I don't feed them, they go in at least the bad birds go into the chicken house and eat the chicken feed.
Mm-hmm.
And I really don't like that. I don't like having them anywhere near.
Yeah, that tends to make you want to go hunting.
Yeah, that means I get my mist nets out.
Yeah.
and hang them inside the chicken house, and I become a mass murderer on.
That is, when it comes to English sparrows, that is like well,
Well, and they're not too vulnerable to them. I have to
WMD.
up off the ground because the chickens have to continue to be able to move back and forth. And those little devils are pretty good about avoiding the mist net somehow. But starlings, they're totally vulnerable. They fly right into them, and I get large numbers of them. And I had a trap that they make specifically for English sparrows. It's kind of like a box trap thing, and it's kind of hard to explain how it's designed, but it worked really well for English sparrows. Just I would catch like a dozen of them at a time. And then one day I caught 6 lazuli bunnings.
Oh no!
And and they didn't make it. None of them made it. They had major freak out, and I just took my axe and beat that trap down to a pulp. And it wasn't going to happen anymore.
Say what?
They're calling this the one green Jew that I know. Secretia.
Secretia. Is that a? Do you know that plant?
What is it?
Well, it's purple. They call this one a purple queen, but it's Secretia. Setcreasea.
Never heard of it.
Well, that's not what I don't think Brenda said that. There are probably more than one kind, but that's what we grew up calling a wandering Hebrew, a wandering Jew. They call it, most people around here call it a wandering Jew. And, but we were trying to figure out what its real name was, and I believe it's Secretia. But I didn't know that. I've never heard it called that. But that's what she's planting right now. That I need to take out to the library. I need to put a few things on it and take it out to the library and haul some stuff. We found some tea. I found some more. I got a couple of boxes I need to take up to the library and a couple of boxes that she needs to bring back down to the house. And then I need to be able to move some of the bigger, heavier book boxes around up there as I set my shelves up. And I'm right now. I feel like I'm the bookshelf king. I've been finding bookshelves from everybody. I still don't, and I still don't think I've got enough to put my books on. So I've got 4 short ones. My one great big one, the glass shelved one that's lined. In the bottom of that is a cabinet. The bottom part I bought that. I believe I can put like oversized books in that.
Yeah,
which will be good because I always have trouble finding that. My blue bookshelf at the old house where I had a lot of stuff in, that whole wall was bookshelves. That was you couldn't put. I was limited on book sizes, so some of my bigger books wouldn't fit in there, and I couldn't adjust those shelves. They were permanent, so I always had to find another place to put them or another set of shelves. And so I've got some this time. I think that won't be a problem. So I'll be able to put them out and display. I've got some books, man. Oh man, Mark, I saw some stuff online the other day. Brenda's been showing me these books and then telling me don't get any ideas, you can't have them. And I'm like dying because they're some of them are Seaton books that I've never seen. And I saw one by his.
That's just cruel and unusual punishment.
It is. Mark said that's cruel and unusual punishment. And she says, I know.
You can't say, look at this cool thing I found that you want, but you can't have it.
He said, you can't just show something like that and then say you can't have it. You can see it, but you can't have it. And I totally agree, Mark. I think that's right. Say something. I'm trying to adjust my volume a little bit.
Hello?
Oh, yeah, much better. Now I can hear with one ear. and hear her too.
Maybe.
Yeah, what was that one you showed me yesterday? You hang on a minute, mate. Oh yes, it was a whole set of Roosevelt books about Africa.
Oh my God.
No, not Africa. What was it?
Taking the west,
Oh no, it wasn't that set. It was Aiming the West.
$950.
$950. So guess what? I didn't even
How
get.
much? $950?
Yeah,
That's a
they might have.
first. Yeah.
They were probably signed by him, and I can't remember. There's 5 or 6 of them.
That was
Oh
a
man.
good move, Brenda.
I don't think that's fair. Let me see. I was gonna see if I could get a picture of them.
But we can't have another one of them there Kelly and Jen auctions that have like a gazillion Seton books and things and not
be on it. Look here. I'm gonna see if I can show
That's
you these.
probably the only other human on the planet that like the same books we like.
Yeah. What, Brenda? Oh. She said there went somebody hauling her she shed up the highway. Look at the back. A she shed. You know what a she shed is?
Yeah, my sister just sold hers.
Oh, did she? Can you see that at all?
I do. Oh my God.
That's the backs of these books. And these books these are Catlin books. Excuse me. This is a set of Catlin books. See if you can see that picture. You can see the backs of them.
Turn it.
Yeah.
Turn it that way. A little more. Oh gosh.
Look at that. Gold. They're the kind of books that have gold edging. I don't know what that's called. If that's gilded. Oh wow, that's number 383 of them too. There weren't that many of them made. Oh, wow. And it's full. Of course, it's full of Catlin pictures. Now, he's not necessarily my favorite Western artist, but there's kind of what the pages look like on the end, so they're in real good shape.
Well, he did some paintings that I think are just wonderful.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, and in a book, I said, if anybody wants to get me this, I'd gladly take it. Don't get me wrong. And here's another TR book called Through the Wilderness of Brazil.
Oh yeah, he spent some time down there too.
Yeah, there's another book.
He almost died down there, actually.
Yeah, he did. I don't know if this is the same expedition or not, because I've got the book. I think it's called The River of Doubt or The River of No Return or something like that. Yeah, his son helped carry him out. I think it was his oldest, or maybe it was his second oldest son went with him on that trip. I think his name's Kermit. And if it hadn't been for him, I don't think he would have survived that trip. He was damn near dead. And damn near is a term of distance. There's one picture of them standing on some kind of rock formation down there. But that book was, that book was only about $450. The Catlin book for $800 and something.
Only?
Yeah, only. She said only. Well, it's all relative. I got to make it sound. And I'm going to find that other set here. Hang on just a minute.
Tina said that she has a couple things to send you, but she is barred from sending you any books.
No, that's lifted. That's lifted. I'm sure Brenda can't hear us talking right now, so that ban is lifted. Don't let that stop you. I'm trying to find. She had another set though that were Roosevelt books, and well, that's the George Catlin books again. Oh man, I'd like to have that set of books. Wow. Oh hell, it skipped back on me. That's why. She's talking to me, but I can't hear her, so I'm just
You
gonna
think I
ignore.
don't remember things.
You don't remember things?
You think I don't remember stuff when you mention art, their name.
Oh, she says you think I don't remember these things when you talk about them. This is the TR book. Actually, these are only 250. Still not a cheap deal. Don't get me wrong, but they're a set. It is 1889 to 1905, Winning of the West by Theodore Roosevelt, and they're yeah. And here they are. They're not quite as fancy as that other set, but can you see that now?
Mhm. Yep.
But it's still a set. I mean, it's still a whole set of another set of his books that I've never seen before altogether. At least he wrote a lot more books than I realized. I knew he wrote several, but he wrote a lot more than I realized. These almost look like they've got leather covers on them.
I have two of his Africa books,
Yeah.
originals. They're not in tough shape, but they were well loved in their lifetime.
I'm going to show you something else that'll make you want to get the look at that set of books. That's all those blueback books. That's all Teddy Roosevelt early editions. I don't know how much this one costs.
He was a prolific author.
Oh, those were those are $4,200 I want for that set.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll have to just dream on about ever having those. But she found one that we saw something the other day that was by Ernest Thompson Seton's daughter. I think her name was Miriam or something like that. And she finished up a couple of things for him after he passed away. And I think she too is an artist. Seems like I've read or saw where she had done some drawings that were very similar to his. And because she evidently hung out with him a lot at certain stages of her life. I'm not sure exactly if that was all the time. You got that book? I see you looking.
No, here's a book I found not too long ago.
What?
You have it?
No.
And I got it because I wanted to
It's a contest,
look at his anatomy drawings, and it's this one.
Oh yeah.
But look who the author is.
I can't see. I can't read it. Oh, Ernest E. Thompson. What? Who is that?
Him. That was his actual name.
So it's an E instead of an S?
He changed his name to Seton.
Yeah.
Because he and his daddy had such a poor relationship.
Yeah.
And the family had Seton was the family, but I don't know if it was on his dad's side or his mother's side. But he changed his name officially to Ernest Thompson Seton.
Right.
But yeah, he was originally Ernest E. I think it was Ernest Edward maybe Thompson. And
see, I had that backwards. I was thinking that was the other way around. That makes more sense, though.
And some people have books that are signed by Ernest Seton Thompson.
Yeah.
He went through a period of like trying to figure out who the heck he was, I guess, and he settled on Ernest Thompson Seton. But
something's pooping over here again.
Something's what?
Pooping.
Really?
You want to see it?
I do, but you don't have to pick it up. She's gonna bring me some scat, guys. Hang on, this could be exciting.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Well, you got to be a good scatologist if you're going to be a wildlife guy, you know. she picked it up
Along with the chips.
along with some. Just hold it right here in front of you. You don't have to get all the way over here with it. I'd say that's a raccoon.
It's like dog food.
I'd say that's raccoon crap, though.
Really?
Yeah.
And they cover it up in a little mound.
Well, they might.
These are always covered.
Well, it could be dog crap, but I don't think it is. It's got other stuff in it.
Like coon. Dirt.
What tick is it?
Not coon.
You got a tick.
I don't know. I'm asking.
Coyote.
Coyote, well, maybe.
It's a
A
beetle.
lot of stuff tends to have a lot of seeds and stuff. And they,
Out of the ceiling onto my hair. And it was gross.
My
did she
wife,
mention?
my wife just had. So your wife's picking up possum poop or whatever,
Yeah.
Here, you can study it.
and my wife just had a bug fall off the ceiling down into her hair.
Oh no.
And she wasn't happy, and she goes, "Is that a tick?" And it was a beetle. So
No, well, I'm glad it wasn't a tick.
yeah, I've never seen ticks here except for ghost ticks on moose. So how come you're a truant bear?
Because I'm not in the schoolhouse.
Oh,
I'm not in the library today like I meant to be. I had left a note. Wildlife at its best, Tina said. That's right. And we got stuff in hair and we got poop in the garden.
as Shrek would say, better in than out, or out than in.
Better out than in. That's right. He's found that a couple of times now, so I don't know. I think it's coon. And, you know, I'd have to study it just a little bit more, but I'm not really in the mood right this minute to pick it up.
It don't have persimmon seeds or nothing in it.
No, that's what I was kind of looking for. I thought it might be could be a yote or I'm not, you know, that's something I've not heard out here. I'm surprised. Now it could be that out here they're under heavy predation, but I've not heard a pack. I'm really surprised I've not heard a pack of coyotes howling, yapping at night. I mean, that seems really unusual for me. Not to,
I suspect the hound dogs have something to do with that.
yeah, that's probably true too. But you know, there's not many places you can go in this state where you might not run into one.
Right.
Even in town, I heard some yapping one time, even down at that other house several years ago. They were off in a patch of woods there somewhere and yipping. I mean, they can adjust to living in just about any kind of habitat if they choose to or have to.
Well, I mean, they live in downtown Los Angeles,
For example,
and they live in downtown Phoenix, and they.
where nobody wants to live. I mean, nobody wants to live
I
there.
had a guy. I was the predator fur bear biologist in Arizona, and I had a guy call me one day, and he said, "There's an old woman walking with a walker. I think he was out in Sun City, there west of. It's all one big godforsaken town, but technically northwest of Phoenix, but it all touches and it's all just town." And he said there was an older lady walking with a walker down the street, and that there were 10 coyotes following her. And I told him to, and he was a younger fella, and I told him you put the phone down, you go out there and you chase them off right now. Because they were obviously up to no good. We had coyote bites. We had coyotes come in dog doors and take kids out dog doors.
Really?
Little kids. Yep. And,
Damn.
yeah, it was pretty bad there for a while in Phoenix, and I contracted my boys with the wildlife services, and they drove around town of a night with suppressed 220s or 202s and drove around town and just shot coyotes. Because I
Wow.
mean, there were so many, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them, and they were bad news for a while.
Did that
And
that help?
bobcats too. We had tons of bobcats that lived in that town. I didn't live in the town, but
Right.
I had to work close to it. And
Bobcats probably weren't as big a problem with people though, were they?
they weren't a problem with people at all. There was just a
Yeah.
gazillion. There were just lots of them that lived in town. They were really bad on pets.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true.
Little dogs and cats were in trouble. But yeah, it was quite the place, that
Interesting.
godforsaken. And I don't, they're drinking out of chlorinated swimming pools and whatever. I mean, it just was just weird to me.
Well, adaptation or
Being,
adaptation, that's what they
being a
do.
rural guy, it was weird to see like a bobcat walking
Yeah.
on top of they have all those gated communities.
Hmm.
And you'd see a bobcat walking on the top of those fences around the gated communities, just walking like a, monkey up there on top of that. Just interesting.
Wow. I knew the coyotes were bad. I didn't know they were that bad. I didn't know they were going. I mean, I know you hear stories about them every once in a while grabbing a kid or something, but most of the time you don't.
They do a
But
lot of biting in California, Arizona, that part of the world. They bite humans, or I don't know if there's been any fatalities, but close.
Well, that's because in California they know nobody can shoot them or anything.
Nobody can. You can't even deal with them. But even in Arizona, they were just out of control in those towns.
And you might think somebody might think I'm kidding, but that's not when something like that knows it's no longer being hunted, and they do learn that, then they know where to go when they know where to go to stay safe, if you will. And coyotes and those kind of critters, once they figure out that you're not going to do anything to them, short of running them off, maybe they're going to lose that fear over time. I mean, you know how it is in some places where there are some, where there is human predation on critters like that. They see a rifle, they see a guy standing there holding a big stick, they're probably going to go the other direction because they're used to seeing shotguns and rifles as a threat. But you go into a town like that, or in California where none of that happens, even out in the country, unless you're far enough out of town, not to get ratted out by somebody else, and they lose that fear. They're not going to be afraid of anything.
Well, Tina's asking if they have any predators, and yeah, Tina, they wolves were their predator.
Yeah. In fact, they think, Tina, that's one of the reasons they think that there weren't really coyotes east of the Mississippi for a long time in this country because of the eastern red wolf, and of course in the north it'd be bigger wolves, but in the south we had that southern red wolf down here, and some people think that was one of the reasons why coyotes did not inhabit this part of North America for a long time. And once they were gone, or all but gone, coyotes started migrating in. Now we've got coyotes everywhere. But when I was growing up, there was no such thing, or we didn't know of such thing as coyotes in Tennessee. I can't remember about when they started. We were still living there when they started showing up. But
well, my grandfather shot one at the chicken house, not in the chicken house, but at his chicken house in 1954 in southern Ohio. I have a photo of it.
Wow.
And that was the first one they'd ever recorded in southern Ohio.
Good.
And
So
yeah,
that was on record.
They just didn't, yeah, and they just didn't exist. You know, they just didn't. They didn't live east of the Mississippi.
Tina
And then
says so.
they came in from the north. That hybrid wolf coyote hybrids.
Come here, buddy. Come on.
It's okay. Nothing's gonna get you.
Yeah, come on. That's a good boy. Good boy, Teddy.
Here's me.
Come here. What a brave cat you are today. I got it. If you want your hand. My goodness, look at you outside.
You're gonna see Daddy. Good boy.
Sorry, I know it's just taking up time, but it's a big deal because he's never offered.
What happened?
Come on, take another step. He's outside. He's on the front step of the house porch here. That's just a truck. You've heard that before.
Where's you see Daddy?
Come here, buddy. He's thinking one step maybe I'll get today.
See Daddy?
Oh, here he comes. Come on. Hey, buddy. I'm going to take the door. Come here, buddy. Come over here and say hi.
Hi, everybody.
Come here. You want to say hi to Carol and everybody? Oh, Mama shut the door. He didn't like that.
You can go back in whenever you want to.
Okay, he almost got over here and he was checking out everything.
Go see Daddy.
Oh, good boy. Yeah, look at you. What a brave boy you are today.
You can go back in when you want to. Just let Mama know. You want to get
Can I
up
pick
Daddy?
you up?
Come here. Want to get Daddy's lap?
Come here just a minute.
Get up
Yeah,
there.
come here.
Good.
I
Say
know,
hi to
come
everybody.
here. Look at you. Oh, I know you're
It's
outside.
okay. It's okay.
No, it's okay. You can be in a rocking chair. You've been in a rocking chair before. Can you hear him?
Can you say hi to everybody?
Tell Mark hi. Say hi to Mark. And Tina and maybe Carol,
He was
whoever.
asking if I'm okay.
Here, you hop down.
You can go back in when you want to.
Okay, there we are. I just
Good boy.
I put you on hold for a minute. I mean, I didn't put you on hold, but I was trying to get him out. He actually came over here, and then she handed him to me, and he wasn't sure about that. And there he is back out already again. He's going to explore the porch a minute. We'll let him do that. Maybe this is the beginning. I can get him out to the library. We bought him a harness. I thought surely I could get him to walk, come out with me.
No.
But he sees that thing coming, and he's gone. And it's funny. Cats are so funny when you put something on them like that. There's like it's suddenly magnetized to the ground. Yeah, Tina, that's right. We killed off the wolves and the coyotes took over, and that's exactly kind of what happened. The saying in science is, and probably other places, but nature abhors a vacuum. So if you remove one predator from an ecosystem, another predator will usually move into that system because they're going to fill that void. Teddy's saying he's not too sure about it. Yeah, he's not. He went back in, I think. Yeah, he went back in, but he did come out, so that's a big deal because he's not been coming out at all. I mean, he's never gone out, but he's never even wanted to come out. I think us both been out here working on the porch, gave him encouraged him. Yeah. Anyway, Tina was saying we killed off too many wolves and the coyotes took over. I guess you saw that part. And she said that's another instance where humans messed up because they were trying to help. Yeah, well, humans have always had this thing about large predators anyway. Europe, that's why there's so few in Europe. And I guess there's a few, I guess there's some wolves now in the north or in the north part of Europe, and there's some bear. There are brown bears around Europe. And of course, we got some coming out of the north. There's polar bears in that part, what's left. But, most of Europe doesn't have snakes or predators for that matter. When St. Patrick came through and got all the snakes out of Ireland, he got them all out of just about everywhere over there. Well, what are you laughing about? That's a true story.
I know.
But he didn't get them out of England, by God. They still don't think they still have asp over there. Some variety of asp that's poisonous.
Yeah, that little European adder.
Adder, yeah, adder. Not asp, an adder.
Well, it's getting ready to rain here.
Yeah, I need to get off here and let everybody go.
And I'm gonna leave out.
All right, well, I'll hopefully see you next weekend, but I know you're going to be getting ready to go, so let's talk before you go.
Well, I'll be on next weekend.
Okay, all right. Well, you take care, and everybody else, thanks for hanging around, and have a great weekend. If you got a Memorial Day picnic planned or something, I hope the weather's good for you. I know down here, I'm not sure it's going to be, so I think it's going to start raining and stay this way for the rest of the week.
Lovely.
Anyway, see you guys. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.